It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed that time. Got radio rocking with us right now. Yeah, man. I'm gonna get my sheer on, all right?
Ruling the way that I move, and I breathe your air. You only can rescue me. This is my prayer. If you were mine, if you were mine, I wouldn't want to go to heaven. Cherish the day, I won't go astray. I won't be afraid. You won't catch me running. You're ruling the way that I move. You take my hand. You show me how deep love can be. Yeah. Cherish the day, I won't go astray. I won't be afraid. You won't catch me running. Oh, cherish the day, I won't go astray. I won't be afraid.
Hey, Diane, how are you?
I won't run away.
A wonderful, 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 wonderful evening to you.
You show me how deep love.
Hey, DJ Lance. Appreciate you as always.
Yeah.
Lisa, how are you?
You show me how deep love can be.
Give thanks as always for y'all rocking out with us, all right?
My breath.
Much love, much love. We got a nice one for you today for sure.
I cherish the day, won't go astray. I won't be afraid, won't run away, won't shy. Cherish the day, won't go astray.
Silver and Wagwan, my family. Israel's in the building, large y'all.
I cherish the
That was Althea Hewitt. This right here is Chris D. Montague. Let's get in, all right?
Last night I had a crazy dream. A wish was granted just for me. It could be for anything. I didn't ask for money or a mentioned amount of blue. I simply wished for one more day with you. One more day, one more time, one more sunset, baby, I'll be satisfied. But then again, I know what it would do. And leave me wishing still for one more day with you. One more First thing I do is pray for time to crawl. I'd unplug the telephone, keep the TV off. I'll hold you every second, say a million I love yous. That's what I do for one more day with you. One more day, one more time, one more sunset, baby, I'll be satisfied. But then again, I know what it would do. It leave me wishing still for one more day with you. One more day, one more time, one more sunset, baby, I'll be satisfied. But then again, I know what it would do.
I love this one.
We wishing still.
I love this one.
Oh, leave me wishing still for one more day. Leave me wishing still for one more day. Yaga 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 yo, yaga 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 yo yo yo. I've been trying a long time, still I can't make it. Everything I try to do seems to go wrong. Seems like I've done something wrong. Why they trying to keep I down? God bless no man curse. Thank you, Jah, I'm not the worst. Better must come one day. Better must come one day. Better must come one day. They can conquer right. Oh no.
From the tippy.
Yaga 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 yo.
Greatly, what's going on? How are ya?
Yaga yaga yaga.
Sandra B's.
Yo.
Big John.
I've been trying a long time, still I can't make it.
Hey, Joanna Marie.
Everything I try to do seems to go wrong. Seems like I've done something wrong. Why they trying to keep I down? God bless no man curse. Thank you, Jah, I'm not the worst. Better must come one day. Better must come one day. Better must come one day. They can conquer right. Oh no. Better must come one day. I've been trying.
Wagwan Orel.
Yes, I gotta make it. Everything I try to do, absolutely right, yeah.
Ed Robinson, large job.
Seems like I've done nothing wrong. Why they trying to keep I down? Jah bless no man curse. Thank you, Jah, I'm not the worst. Better must come one day. Better must come one day. Better must come one day. They can conquer right.
When I say I have a vibe, so not today, I think I joke day.
Better must come one day.
I think I joke day.
Better must come one day. Better must come one day. I've been trying a long time.
From the Mighty Full 13 catalog.
Yo.
Jones, man.
Everything I try to do seems to go wrong.
Oh, Trius in the building.
Something wrong. Why they trying to keep I down? Jah bless no man.
Wagwan Philip.
Thank you, Jah, I'm not the worst. Better must come one day.
Hey, Suzette.
Better must come one day. Better must come one day. They can conquer right.
What up, Francine?
No.
What up, fam?
Better must come one day.
Always good to see you.
Yaga, yeah. Better must come one day.
You're listening to Homegrown with G. Cole. He's got a heart of gold.
I've been trying a long time, till I got to make it. Everything I try to do, absolutely right, yeah.
almost that time.
Nothing wrong. Why they trying to keep me down? God bless no man curse. Thank you, Jah, not to us. Better must come one day.
Chano.
Better must come one day. Better must come one day.
I say Jano. Anytime big tune reach me, I got your accent, you know what I mean? Anytime my big tune come on, I get this English accent. I don't know where it come from, you know what I mean? But when the tune fire, the tune just fire, you know what I mean? It's right here.
Ooh, yeah.
Michelle Songbird Gordon. I don't know, man. Anytime the tune's in fire,
She built
talk like
a
this.
railroad to freedom. She led the way for so many frightened and bonded souls. Oh yeah. Tired and threatened by danger, she stopped to pray, and her courage helped them to reach their goal.
Y'all ready?
They call her
From a tippy, from the top. There I go again. I tell you, man, when the tune in fire, I don't know where the accent come from. You know what I mean? Straight up London. Easy.
She built a railroad to freedom. She led the way
What I want follow in?
for so many frightened and bonded souls.
Somebody grab two in the car real quick.
Oh, yeah. Tired and threatened by danger, she stopped to pray, and her courage helped them to reach their goal. They call her Moses. Moses was her name. Moses was her name. Ooh.
Tune out special. Special. Special, I say.
She was the pride of her people, leaders and friends, mighty soldiers fighting for human rights. Yeah, yeah.
What my light today?
She made her followers respect her, and in the end, lead her people
Double.
darkness into light. They call her Moses. Moses was her name. Moses was her name.
Ladies and gentlemen, choose.
Hey, I don't know.
Just a little dip in the catalog, a little bit, a little bit, you know what I mean? Just a little bit.
Ooh, take me to the moon, just as long as I'm with you. Just wanna be with you. Ooh, take me anywhere, doesn't matter, I don't care. Just wanna be with you. I don't know what it is I see in you. I've gotta tell you just how I feel. about you. Could it be? Your smile is so sexy, the way you dance when you're rocking me.
Shannon Nicole, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh, take me to the moon, just as long as I'm with you. Just wanna be with you. Ooh, take me anywhere, doesn't matter, I don't care. Just wanna be with you. So let the music play again. I don't want it to ever end, 'cause my man is holding me, and Mr. Thompson played it sweet. Let the music play again. I don't want it to ever end, 'cause my man is holding me, and Danny Basie played it for me. Yeah. Ooh, take me to the moon.
Gay, what's poppin'? How are you?
I'm with you.
Thank y'all for rocking, man. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. This one's called Take Me to the Moon.
Ooh, take me anywhere, doesn't matter, I don't care. Just wanna be with you. Said I don't know what you do to me, baby. Said I don't know what you do to me, baby. I don't know what it is you do to me, baby.
This right here is my favorite joint from China Nicole and the Manata Line. It's my favorite China Nicole right here. And you know she got works out there. Hey, Julianne.
Ooh, take me to the moon, just as long as I'm with you. Just wanna be with you. Ooh, take me anywhere, doesn't matter, I don't care. Just wanna be with you. Ooh, take me.
This is Wayne Warner saying J Code, legal businessman. Bang, bang, boom.
I me say this a protege, homegrown with G Cola, what you say, we make them know what reggae music we a play, this is Protege, the one and only representing for G Cole, you know. Check it, he's out.
And we said them not got no style like we. G Cole, them not got no style like we. None of them no wicked, no wild like we. Accurate, Kabaka Pyramid representing for the #1 selector and radio host. It's all about G Cole. Keep it locked. Accurate.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Kalia. I'm hanging out with your boy G Cole on the Homegrown Show.
Yes. Welcome one and all. It is Homegrown with G-Cole coming to the Master Crew live, man. Got to big up everybody listening in on the radio. I appreciate y'all big time, all right? Thank you so much. When I say so much, I mean so much, all right? Everybody listening in on Jamaicans.com or watching live on Jamaicans.com, those people watching on the Homegrown with G-Cole platform, thank you. Those people listening in on homegrownwithgcole.com, thank you. Royal Zion Highness fam, much love, much appreciation. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. Means a lot. I say means a lot. All right. Now here's the deal. Got to take a minute as always. That sub, Marley. No, sub, you can't drop the Bob Marley. You on Facebook, kick me off. All right. And when they kick me off, it might be permanent too. You know what I mean? Cool. I say, hey, get Robinson. Oh, that man. The Robinson people might be a trouble in Guinness. I'm not speculating who, but I'm watching out. Listen. All kind of craziness going on out here right now. We ain't out the woods yet, so I just got to say, regardless of beliefs and whatever the case may be, thank you to anybody who are out there on the front lines right now trying to put it in for us. All right, a lot of people are out there under duress. Some people are out there just because they want it, but whatever reason you're out there, I appreciate y'all. My nurses, my doctors, my paramedics, first responders, thank you. Firefighters, thank you. All right? Again, everybody doing it. I'm doing it the right way. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all big time. All right. Got to say thank you to my mental health professionals, all the social workers, everybody out there that's making it work. All the people in education looking after our kids. Thank you. And the rehabilitation facilities. Thank you. We need you, man. Pharmacists, all of y'all doing what you do. Scientists, whatever. Thank you. All right. Grandma's at home with the kids. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Allowing us to all carry on and do what we do. I appreciate y'all big time. Big time. Big time. All right. In Rome, lodge up yourself. I got a big massive crew in Israel right now. The UK's locked in. Appreciate y'all. Jamaica's with us. Miami's here. Toronto's locked in with us too. Montreal's here. Canada there. All right. California's in the building. So we have a nice convo for y'all today. What's been, it's not new. The concept and the conversation about reggae music, where it's coming from, the legacy, the lineage, where it's at today, and more than anything else, where it's going, is a convo that's never going away. It's amazing some of the things we said and we talk about in today's conversation, and we swear that it's brand spanking new. I can't believe we're geniuses. We're coming up with this thing. And I mean, I recall having conversations multiple times about this market being a singles market and, you know, the focus being put on albums. Is it really necessary? Is it smart? Is it viable and all that stuff, right? And we're thinking, well, man, it's 2021. Vancouver's in the building. What up, Veronica? And we're telling ourselves, hey, is this where we're at right now? But then I was listening to Mr. Dermot Hussey's podcast, Riffin Radio, and an interview that he did back in probably the 80s, late 80s or so forth. Nah, lie matter. Early 80s with Rita Marley. And he was having that conversation back then about the singles market. And I'm just bringing that up to say nothing is new under the face of the sun. We think it is, but it ain't, right? These obstacles, these hurdles, all these things we're going through, we've been going through for a hot minute. I don't know if it's going away. I just don't, right? So what I like to do is have a conversation with those people who we can have a nice reasoning with. This world is filled with opinions, right? We all got them, right? But I'm talking about unbiased opinions, just people who can lend their knowledge, their experience, their opinion, and all that good stuff, right? When I say all that good stuff, I mean all that good stuff. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring today's guest. And of course, we're going to have Mr. Lloyd Stanbury is going to join us later on, right? Via phone. But right now, we've got a gentleman that I've been looking forward to having a conversation with for a hot minute. All right. Somebody whose experience is vast, is out of this world. We're talking about coming from the vantage point of the production side of it, working with the artists, working with radio. All right. Working with the bands. In and out of the studio, on the road, the whole nine. All right? Distributing music. Having that direct interaction, that direct connection with multiple avenues of this. And that's what we love to talk about. But not only that, but somebody who can articulate his experiences greatly with and for us. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm talking about the people's own Mr. Fitzroy Francis. I'm going to bring him forward there now. I see what going on, King. You can hear me?
Greetings.
Blessings.
Greetings, G. Cole.
Blessings.
First, I must say thanks for the invitation, and it's a pleasure, thanks to Joan Marie for reaching out, and all your guests that join in, and to be a part of this reasoning,
Pleasure, my brother. Pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen out there, may I hear an echo, but if you're not hearing it, we're good. I mean, for some reason, I feel like I'm echoing, but it's all. How it's sounding to you? I'm sounding good.
Yeah, you're sounding good. I think the echo is, I think I hear a little echo, but it's not that distinct.
All right, man. That's what we can do. But here's the thing. One thing I will say is this: when it comes to, you know what? I think I know what is half of the issue. Let me try something real fast. I might have to let radio go. All right.
Okay, I think the echo gone, I'm not hearing it anymore.
Gone?
Yeah.
Hold on there. I'm gonna get rid of the echo permanently. See that? Or not. So what we're talking about right now is this music, this reggae music, the culture. And by the way, let me start off by saying change is not something that we're familiar with. Change is not something we used to. Change is not something we like. You know how I know that? I had to switch up the studio right now. My mixer is on one side and the thing up on the other side. So right now I feel like I'm losing my mind because I'm right-handed, right? And the mixer the right side. So that's just a testament to how we can't really handle the change situation. I'm being told that my echo is still here. I got to figure out what caused my echo. What caused my echo? Hold up. Still there. But nonetheless, we'll survive. We'll survive. So and this is just one immediate testimony to me of how we are when it comes to change. We can't really do it. We can't really do it. We see the music changing, a lot of things changing, and I don't think we're dealing with it very well, right? A lot of people dip in their bag of memories and nostalgia and all that stuff and how it used to be, right? Because what we're talking about right about now is where it used to be, where it's at, and where it's going, right? So let's start in the regular order of back then. You've seen stuff, and you've been there, you've done that. Let's get a little bit into your history a little bit, right? Talk to me a little bit about your introduction to this music, how you got involved so intimately and intricately with this reggae music thing.
Well, when I leave KC in 1984, I was standing at my gate one day, and my virgin, a guy that he used to build kite for us when he was a child. So he migrated to Canada, but he returned. So one day I was standing at my gate, you left school, job, come from the ghetto. A lot of qualified people can't get a job uptown. So, your community become your workplace. So stand at my gate now, this virgin I walk past my gate and him say, Fitzroy. Some say, yo, who this? Him say, Herman Kane. Some say, Herman used to build a kite. So him say, yes. So him say, if you come check me on my yard, So, and he was a graphic artist. He was a graphic artist for Black Horo. He designed like the showcase album for Black Horo and Sly and Robbie, and he used to design all those big banners that people see at the Reggae Suns Fest, the Reggae Suns Splash, rather. He used to paint those things. So when I check him at his gate, he introduced me, to say, listen, you're gonna be. Him say, I'm a graphic artist, and this is what I want to educate you about. So that's how I get involved with the music from a graphic artist perspective. Then him start educate you about intellectual property rights and to protect your work. So that's how I really I introduced to the music.
Wow. I love that, because here's one of the major reasons why I really love you talk about your introduction to the music is a lot of times when people are introduced to this music business right here, it more so comes from a vantage point and a standpoint of musicians, the actual craft itself, being an artist and all them things. And then later on, they either figure out or not, because a lot of times they do not figure out the actual part of it, which is the business. You mentioned intellectual property and intellectual property rights and stuff like that. A lot of people go through their entire career or have gone through their entire career not understanding that part and have suffered tremendously from it. And today we have these conversations about them with all kinds of empathy, all kinds of sympathy, when some of it was ignorance and some of it was lazy. Some people just didn't have an interest in that part of it. And some of it was straight up ignorance, information being withheld. But you're speaking now about starting out on that side of the fence. Now, knowing what you knew or learning what you learned that early in the business, right? And then you're watching artists going through. How did you feel? What was your vantage point watching artists going through a lot of things that you probably knew within yourself that you're going wrong, or how you can remedy this? But artist ego, they're probably not going to take it from young Fitzroy right about now, who has some of that knowledge that they don't.
Well, it's always be a struggle, because a lot of artists, artists, they feel education, or when someone telling them something that they should know, they feel maybe belittled. Because we grow on like Wayne Smith. Like Wayne Smith was my closest singer virgin. Like before Herman, me and Wayne Smith used to when I leave my home, I go to Wayne Smith yard. I'm telling you, before Wayne Smith become Wayne Smith, And then me and him would sit down and write music, and he must have fit. So I go up a not Studio One, but Channel One. He was recorded with Channel One before he met King Jammies. you know, and then me and him start going on jammies, and so me I learn because we are used to knowledge to we is first and foremost, you know, as I talk about changes, modification is very important, you know what I say? So we learn, we realize that sometimes you have to be selfless in learning, you know, and my community where I came from, Waterhouse, we see a lot of the greats, you know, because Ducky Simpson, Michael Rose, Junior Reid, name them, King Everall, King Tubbies, they were right there before them even become stars, you know. So the knowledge was, the music was really be a part of us, you know. And in my home, all of these great artists to come check my uncle, because my uncle was a Rastaman who did Naya Bingi and chant, and the singer them used to come check him and them sitting and reason and burn them weed and him show them about the, you know, the cultural aspect of the music, and you know, so that was very important to me, you know. But the intellectual properties, the rights, where Herman said, listen, because Herman being around Black Hole, him see the exploitation of not register your work, because Herman every time say, before you record an artist, it's important to register your work. You know, go to the PRS. At them time they never have JCAP and all these things. Yeah, BMI was available at ABSCAP, but I didn't aware of those things until he gave me a book named This Business of Music when I started reading. You know, so that is really important to me. And a lot of artists, as you say, them don't want to learn, you know, them just want, them time the artists not think about learn, them want for bus. A man want have the opportunity to go in the studio and voice and hear him sing on the radio. That was the urge then, you know. So that was the arrogance of a lot of artists that we really been around, you know.
Right. And I presume between then and now, you've seen the detriment of said arrogance, because our music is one of the ones that we've heard that about the most in terms of all of the despair, all of the financial problems that our artists have had over the course of the years. And of course, not only them, but even their estates, artists passing away, and a GoFundMe where if you do for bury the artists them, and you know, people fighting over legacy and stuff like that. That happens with regular life, but you know, when estates aren't put in proper order, these are inevitable problems. And the unfortunate things, like you mentioned, not only was the information not there, but a lot of the people weren't necessarily receptive to the information. Because what I've realized growing up is that it was, like you say, about a bus. Most people weren't thinking intellectual property. They weren't thinking royalties. They were thinking song, popularity, shows, right?
Exactly.
And figure that the shows is where the revenue is going to come from. A lot of the people who were on the back end of it knew but withheld that information. I always call it the harder they come syndrome, where it goes just like the movie. Artists come with talent, the other person comes with everything else, and next thing you know, all you get out of it is a 45.
That's true. That's exactly true, you know.
But the problems don't stop.
And a lot of the producers, remember, a lot of the producers, reggae have the most, I should say, illiterate people in those times, the 70s, the 80s, because it wasn't academic. A lot of people, we were privileged, you know, so we got good school, because our mother advocate for that, you know, if you know, say, we got good school and we focus on school, you know. Unfortunately, during the 70s, 79, 80s, there was political violence in our community. We see a lot of our friends get killed, see those brethren get killed, and it's the music that rescue us, because we could have done a notorious gunman, because we say all the badness, we say the Sandokan, those guys was like our friends. We grew up with in the communities, you know, all those gangsters and things, but they would encourage us to listen. It's a youth like, you know, see some money and go on to school, you know, and leave them thing, and you see what we are doing? Don't be a part of it. You know, so we realize that it really have a purpose, and you know, even the guys that them were doing the things that seem bad, they encourage us to do the good things. So we realize, you know, we're gonna focus on the music. You know, we're gonna focus on the music. So we'll gravitate to the Wayne Smith, as I said, the King Tubbies, you know, the Black Huro, you know, and all these things, you know.
Right. I dig that, man. I dig that. I always spread that knowledge is key. Knowledge is very important. Without it, we're not going to accomplish too much. not just in music, but in anything at all. Now we're talking about yesteryear. One question I always ask those people who've been around, especially the legends, you know, whomever the legends may be, the Michael Roses of our time, you know what I mean? Docky Simpson, like you mentioned, even the Marleys, the Peter Toshes of the world, everybody. When you were young, back in those youthful days, did you see stardom? Did you envision that one day these people who I am around right about now, because a lot of times you're doing stuff out of passion more than anything else back then, the love for something. Did you have any idea that their legacy would be what it is today?
No. If I say that, I would be lying. I'd never see that. I never see that, because I must say music is not something they earn from. You know, these guys were guys that's on the corner, like you're going Waterhouse, you have to place them big road where you say Ducky, Rose, all of them, the Wailing Soul, Hangout. It's just a hangout spot, you know. And people would say, yeah, them they are singing, but you know, people say boogie yaga music, them not going nowhere, rare. But when we walk, because when I go leave my home and go to big road, that's where I take the bus to go to school. And Ducky Simpson, that money always give me $100. Them time you didn't have $100, you have $20. And I can't spend all that. It take me months. So when my mother give me lunch money, me have all money for months, because Ducky Simpson is a mentor to me. He's a man who love me like he's the only person who could take me out of my home. And my father would not say nothing. You know, because we are youth, we couldn't leave out our yard unless our parents know where we are going and with whom we are going, you know, because I must say our community is filled with various characters. You know, you have gunman, you have killer, you have robber, you have thief, but you still have the musician there, you know. So the stardom part of it, we never see that. We never envision that, you know. Yeah.
Wow. Talk to me about the road though, because that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is the life of a musician. You know, it's like the farm. It's like you're on the farm and you're tilling the soil and you're planting everything. But when that fruit comes, if you don't take it to the market, it's going to waste. You know what I mean? And you've been on the road with, talk to me about some of the artists that you've traveled with and the experiences out there on the road with these artists.
Well, the first time being on the road was with a group named the Itals, 96, sorry. Me and Anjabees, you know, we do an album named Militant that I produced with Anjabees. So, you know, we're going to do a tour, embark on a tour, a US tour with Itals featuring Anjabees, which I went as the road manager. I don't even know what a road manager is or was those time, you know. But David Pansegro, who was the executive producer, said, Fitzroy, you's gonna be the road manager. You're gonna respond. So, you know, he give me the documentations and my implementation, you know. Cause you know, when you're going on the road, there's advance for the artist, and then you know you have to pick up the balance. So, you know, so every show, 30 minutes before the show, you gotta get that payment before the artist go on stage. You know, so that was a good thing for me, you know. And we realized that it made the artist, it's bridge the gap between the artist and his fans. You know, because it's tangible. You know, it's tangible. The artists and the fans, they can react to each other. The artist is there, the fans is in front time singing the same song that the artist would play on his vinyl. Them time you do on the CD. You know? Yeah, and then when the artist finish, him come backstage and him get the autograph and the fans them feel good, them sign the album, you know, some present, you know, take a picture and them thing there, you know. So it is very important being on the road. And as you can see today, that's what the music come back to right now. It come back to performance. Even in this present age, performance is the most important thing to an artist right now, even earning.
Wow. You know, it amazes me to talk about those little things that have never changed. Public relations just got mentioned right there. Artist interaction, right? Being able to interact with the artist, being able to be there with, fan interaction, I'm sorry. You know, being able to be there with the fans, be a part of that experience, have them be a part of the experience. Right, and I see nowadays some artists don't even want to participate in that. Some artists
that's
nowadays,
not good. That's not good.
Like
you know,
interact with the fans, and I've you know, sometimes that's something that sounds very Hollywood, and I think, say, boy, okay, that thing they're going to Hollywood with the big Hollywood artists, them and so forth. But amongst the reggae community, we're known as the friendly people. And we're sometimes going on stage singing love, peace, and happiness, right? But then when it comes to interacting with the fans, sometimes your favorite artists and your favorite stars refuse to do so. And that to
That is
me is kind of some of the parts where you see the domino effect and it starts tumbling down, and then we start not being as embraced as we once were. And I don't know back then if people were really friendly people or just doing the do and signing their autographs and kissing the babies, whatever. But right now, when I talk to people from far and wide, I get that feeling like it's not the same like it used to be. The artists are a little bit standoffish, you know what I mean? Reggae is that warm, welcoming, embracing music, but the artists don't depict that. How is that kind of mindset affecting us today?
it is affecting us very well. It's affecting us. It is detrimental. You know, that's why I say good road manager, because you can't meet everybody, but your road manager is supposed to be say, all right, what 1,000 people, I need the artist to meet maybe 100 people, because you have fans who broke record, you know, because they love this artist, they listen to the artist, they emulate the artist, the church artist. But when they come to the show and then them try to meet that artist to get an autograph of an album, and then the artist act so selfish. You know what they do? Then just broke the record and said, stop listening to the artist there, you know. You know, and I have learned that being around Shabba ranks, believe me, I have learned that say an artist have to be selfless, because Shabba ranks Michelle White, she told me that, she said, Rocky, when I'm here with Shabba on the road, Shabba is for the people. Shabba is for the people. We're not gonna meet everybody, but we're gonna meet maybe 100 people, take pictures, take autograph, and then when we accomplish that 100, we cut it off. But at least 100 person from 1,000 or 10,000 people can go and say, you know what? I take a picture with Shabba. I take an autograph with Shabba. You know? And I think a lot of the artists them in the past, maybe they never have good road managers or managers who really advocate for these things to let them know, so listen, there's a person outside, they have 10 of your album that they bought and listened, and they would like the autograph, you know. With Black Hole, I did that, because a lot of time I bring people in the kind of ask them dressing room, and you can't make people bombard the dressing room, you know. So you be selective, you know, because you don't know you have groupies and gigolos on the road too, you know. So you gotta be careful, you know. So as a road manager, it is important to be selective, you know. So, all right, you have real fans that really want an autograph show. Say, this album that I listen to this artist is signed by the artist, you know. Hello? I'm not hearing you, you know.
You can't hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some switch up real fast because somebody hit me up and say, yo, they still I got the echo. I think we're good now. All right. I call tech support, they were in the back, you know what I mean? I'll call tech support and they said they got me. So that's what I think of. But the thing is this, you know, if you try, and I really, really dig your perspective on it, is that a lot of time people speak from what they've heard. They speak from what they assume, the presumptions, the assumptions. But not very many times can they speak from the vantage point of being there. So we're talking about yesterday. We're talking about today, right? And then we're talking about the future of this music. I realize that there are different categories of stuff. A lot of people release music just to release music, right? Whether they're trying to just make sure the name is out there for traction online or whatever. And some people are releasing music for the bread and butter. That's what they do. Some people are releasing music for the passion. Let's talk about the future when it comes to this reggae and this dancehall. And let me retract the reggae and dancehall and just refer to it as Jamaican music, right? Talk to me a little bit about where you see the future of this reggae music just based on where we are today.
Well, personally, I would say the future is very bright, because, you know, technology can be destructive as much as it can be educated, you know, and we see the transition from vinyls to digital, and now we see it gone to compute online, you know. For me as a producer, it's not good, but I accept it because modification, because, you know, one time when you have a hit single, and that single is on an album, then a man will buy it. When a man buy an album, a man will don't like a song on an album, but him have to buy the album because him have a song on that album where him knows if him don't buy the album, him not gonna get that song to play it. Today, when a song is uploaded to iTunes or Apple or that in there, I'm gonna know say him don't have to buy that whole album, just buy one song.
Right.
Him don't have to even buy it, him just stream it. You know? So people are not compelled to own music today like before. Which for me, an album valued $10 wholesale $7.50 then or retail $15. Today is 99 cents. So you have to be streaming like 100 million multiplied by cents to be paid. You know? So to me, that's very destructive. It might look progressive, but to me as a producer, it's very destructive. You know, the artists benefit more because the artist can do dub plate, the artist can go on tour, because a lot of time producer don't tour the artist, you know. A lot of time the producer that make an hit song for an artist, it does not tour the artist. It does not benefit economically from the artist, because him can't go press out 1,000 CD, 1,000 vinyls like one time, or 1,000 CD, and also him can sell that and earn. You know, an artist can put out a hit song, artist can do dub plate, and can make money, and can do all these things and make money, and then you, the producer or the songwriter, if you're not register your songs, there's no benefit from it. You know, but looking back to what reggae and dance are the struggles, I would say no, because when the slang thing come in, because the slang thing era, I was right there with Wayne Smith. I was right there when Wayne Smith get that Casio. When Garth Dennis bring that Casio, come give Noel Davis, because Noel Davis is a keyboard, so him come give Wayne Smith the Casio. You know, I was right there. You know, and then Wayne Smith play with it and we'll see what it is today. Now a man don't need 5 musicians in our studio anymore. You know, we should have it good and have it bad. It's a revolution, you know? Right. But I would say reggae music and dancehall is in a good place, you know? If the practitioners would be more united and, you know? Right. Yeah.
You know, it's funny you said that. I've always felt like every time I saw what was supposed to be a technological improvement and advancement on the music, in that very moment, I could see the detriment on the back end that's about to come. You know, it's like when you watch these sci-fi movies and you see them show the future and it's so desolate. The buildings are still tall, but they're abandoned and then broken down, right? There's a whole bunch of these modern cars that we're driving right about now, but they're in disrepair and they're all over the place and they're broken down. And it takes me back to the time when they came out. Why I say that? I remember when CDs came out, right? And then I remember when we went to CDRs, which is pretty much being able to burn a CD. That moment, I was like, this is awesome. But in that moment, I also say, this is going to damage the industry. Because we got to the moment when somebody could take one song or a whole album and burn it and give it to everybody you know, right?
Exactly.
And I felt that that was just a detriment to the industry. And it couldn't get any worse. But then this thing came out called streaming. And to me, streaming is the devil. Streaming benefits us analytically. It gives us what people, because right now we're in the day of people wanting to see stuff right away, and people can see analytics without you even showing it to them. You can say, this is how many people are listening to me. But the benefit for an artist on the back end in terms of the revenue coming in, the amount of streams that you have to have for it to add up to one sale. A lot of artists right now have to be using this music as a propulsion mechanism to get to another way of making revenue, because the music itself is no longer a financial gain for that artist. So you see when it comes out, wow, this is beautiful, this is convenient. I hear everything on my phone, every artist more I hear, every album. But at the same time, I say, wow, what is the artist benefiting from all of this? You know what I'm saying? When you see the changes in the music, how does, as a producer, you mentioned, and I like the vantage point of that as a producer, because we always talk about the artist, and with the artist is watching what's going on, and like I say, artists can go perform. Artists complain a lot about producers and what goes on the producer's end, but truthfully, the artist is never really that concerned about the producer, right? We talk about, oh, the producer rob, and that happens a lot of times too, you know. But how does the producer earn? You tell me, when a producer produce a song, and put it out there. And we know that record sales are in the tanks right about now, in the toilet right about now. What's the producer's vantage point? How does a producer plan to earn from a song, from an album with an artist?
Well, today, as a producer, what you need to do when you create a rhythm, you register it before you even give it to an artist. Because when you give an artist that rhythm, that artist can create melody, he can create lyric content from it, and then he can become it's like a light, it's a prism. The artist is the light, you see, but in that light, there's a lot of components that make it shine. Because a lot of time artists don't talk, you know, they are not being truthful. Because in the studio, sometimes artists doing a song, it's the engineer say, listen to this. You half key this, you know, come back, sing that with more emphasis. The engineer make sure the artist, sometimes not even the producer, because a lot of producers are not engineers, you know. Like myself, I'm not an engineer. I'm a producer, so I'm being in the studio with maybe Philip Smart, and then the artist record. I'm say, Mr. Smart, you think that sound good? I'm say, yeah, man, it's all right. I say, can you take a bridge there? I'm say, no, I'm go off. You know, so you put input. So today, not like yesteryear when a producer can press a toes off his record and go sell it and make money from it. Today, it's not like that. The artists have more advantage points. As a producer, when you create a rhythm, you register it with ASCAP, BMI, PRS, or whatever entity you are with, or whatever affiliate, you know? So when you give an artist your rhythm or music, it is protected because you have sound exchange today that you register with too. Because even me right now, I'm in the state of learn. That's why I pull back sometime and learn, because I'm in a new era. I'm in an era that I've never been before. 1992, when this brother named David Fansigo brought a CD player come give me. He said, himself Fitzroy said this, it's a CD is a master. It's gonna destroy the whole industry. I didn't even know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
When we look out of my yard, when I play CD, hundreds of man in front of my gate because they have never heard a CD playing before. They have never heard a CD. In Waterhouse, I am the first person who owned a CD player. Because a white man bring it, come give me.
Wow.
And then said, this gonna destroy the industry.
Right.
Because, and then we used to go for Music Works. Go press hundreds of CD. Because when you go for Music Works, there's a ramp. Because there was a CD. And the industry don't protect us. Because if they did, we couldn't duplicate CD. They didn't protect us because, you know, they just release, they just put out these things and no protection for the industry. So a man can go get a CD and him can go press 1,000 CD and him go to the stage shows them and sell it for $5 with a 100 song on it for $5. Just imagine that.
I remember those.
The producer not getting no the artist not getting no performing royalties. The producer not getting no, the musician not getting no mechanical royalties. And the producer not getting nothing at all.
Right.
You know? So these are the disadvantage today. But as I said, as a producer, you make sure register your work. Registration is very important. A lot of people talk about copyright. Copyright is anything that becomes in the public domain. Once you type something on Facebook, it's been copyrighted.
Right.
Because it's recorded in the public domain. But you still have to go and protect that. By registering, you have to pay your money too. No, say, all right, me have to pay $120 for to register my work. So you with the Library of Congress, so you get a certificate, like what I did, like with my Mighty in Battle Rhythm. All my rhythm that I did, I protect them through the Library of Congress, and they have my certificate. So when I give it to an artist, I know, say, yes, I am protected, you know. If it play a million times, then me know, say, maybe I get my check quarterly or halfly from the sound exchange. I'm going to feel good. Maybe I not get a $10,000, but at least I know that my work is being protected.
Right.
Yeah.
I dig that. And again, you know, ever so often, there's different uproars within the music industry. I remember a couple of years ago, the uproar at the time was royalties from performance rights in these venues, right? Because when you go into concert venues, they even came down on sports bars and other entities, the nightclubs that are playing the music in these nightclubs. and they're supposed to be recording a playlist and what they're playing, and of course compensating the artists. It's not millions, but if a million club play it one time, it's good, right? And then also for live musicians, because we always talk about, okay, how does a live thing work? You know, you're going to the venue, you perform live, they're supposed to compensate for that from a performance royalty standpoint. Then I heard that die down. You're familiar with that also. Did they rectify that situation to where producers are also being compensated for these performance royalties, or is it just something that was an uproar and then it died?
Well, I'm not sure about Jamaica, but I can tell in Europe and America, when you go to do a live concert, the promoter will ask you, say, do you have a playlist? Because the artist is going to perform certain songs. So you got to present that to the artist, to the promoter. So the promoter know the songs what the artist is gonna sing. Sometimes artists take out songs. So at the end of the night, at the end of the performance, you as the road manager have to know that, say, oh, you know that Black Road didn't sing Shine Eye Girl tonight and didn't sing Guess Who's Come to Dinner tonight. So you take those out. So as much as you submit the playlist to the promoter, at the end of the night, you have to follow up. Because remember, these songs supposed to be protected.
Right.
They're supposed to be protected. So at the end of the night, you still submit what the artists do live, with all the song, because sometimes an artist time short, you know, so a lot of song where you have submit before is not that the artist say, boy, I have to take out some song, you know, to accommodate the timing, because when you're booked to do an hour and a half or 30 minutes, then you have to cramp those music in. So you submit those things, and the promoter submit to your affiliates like the PRS, the BMI, you know, whatever. So once you're registered in your work, you will get paid.
Right.
For me, Jamaica, the roots of reggae, there's no protection.
Right.
You know, I know that PRS, because I have been a member of the PRS Society from 1992, and I've not changed. When ASCAP come, them say I can change over, but I say I'm not gonna change over. I still keep my PRS affiliation, and I get paid from them too. You have online where you can register your work and you can see your account, you submit your bank account, because everything is right there today. So when a man say, get up and say, boy, a man robbed me. No. Because today in the music, when you're mastering a song, you make sure you embed the ISCR code. So when it played, it can be known. The distribution company supposed to submit that to you and you give that to the artist so he can track sales. You know, so that's what I'm learning today. That's why I say I take time to re-educate myself of this era that I'm in. Not talk about this 80s and the 90s, and you know, because a lot of producers never on the barcode. So when a man press a 1,000 album, you can't track that, because there's no barcode for track. Say a man sell 1,000 album. Enough man them now buy a barcode. A lot of artists, if you tell them say buy a barcode for put on your album, they're not gonna do that.
Nah.
A man prefer go buy a Jordan sneakers for $1,000, you know, more than even registering work. That's the problem with we as reggae artists today.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing? Because you know, you mentioned that, you know, and it even goes back to when we talk about quality recordings, what people will skimp on and what they won't skimp on. You know what I mean? They're not gonna skimp on the outfit, but they'll skimp on the production. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna skimp on the Guinness, but then we skimp on the promotion. You know, and that is something that I've seen in our industry more than anything else. I'm gonna in a second or two have Mr. Lloyd Stanbury join us on the line. Hopefully we can get everything going through properly. But I'm gonna have Lloyd join us, and part of the reason I wanted to have this conversation with Lloyd, you probably see too, it's quite entertaining and enlightening when Lloyd puts his posts on social media, right? The post is one thing, you know, but the part of it that is enlightening and entertaining to me is the comment section, right?
Yeah.
So I sit there and get the comment section intact. But let me ask you this before we grab Lloyd. How? You know, I always ask people, you know, we have the concerns, the major concerns. How are we going to do this? This needs to be better, and so forth and so forth. But sometimes we wonder, do we have any ideas? There are things that we would change and things that we wouldn't change. Before I get into what you might possibly change if you had the opportunity to, let me ask you this. What is going good in this industry that you like that you wouldn't necessarily change, but if anything, keep and even expound upon, as far as not just the whole music industry at large, but reggae music, Jamaican music? What is it that's going well that you are happy with right now?
a lot of artists doing recording that couldn't do it before.
Wow.
A lot of artists have the opportunity to do recording and become artists that wasn't presented, because one time you couldn't go to studio, you know. One time I used to work at New Name Music. That's where I met him, Ed Robinson. I was when I like the music itself, when I came into the music, I came in as a sales representative, selling music. Being around New Name Music, there was like young artists and established artists. So when Castle Brown press 50 single, I have to go to the various record store and I have to be there and play 50 songs, 50 single. And then the guy at the desk would say, all right, give me 10 of that, give me 100 of that, because you don't know the big guys all have the opportunity, you know. But today when you look, there's thousands of artists. Some are fabricated artists, some are makeup artists. But I would have changed, believe me, the music industry, and I would say we don't have an industry. We don't have an industry, I would say, in Jamaica, because the only industry I see is Bob Marley estate.
Wow. Wow.
It's only Bob Marley. No, believe me, look.
Right.
It's only Bob Marley.
That's the only thing generating revenue these days.
Yeah, you know. And we have to control the commerce. And we have to control the commerce. Because it's industry and commerce, you know. It is industry and commerce. And we don't have we can't even commercialize the thing.
Right.
Without we have an industry. Because I must say, there's no tangible force. There's no industry that you can say you can go there and you can work, and you know a man knows, all right, you have your 401k, you have your retirement benefits, you have your health insurance. Because you're there on the arts for 100 years. And yet if you're sick and dead, as well, you say you have to go to GoFundMe. Not in the artists.
Yeah.
Who you give up your family time and all this time to be with them. Don't protect you.
Right. No, it's amazing you mentioned that, but not tell no lie, because that is something that give me 1 second. That is something that has always been an issue for me. I personally take umbrage with it a lot, and it's always been an issue in terms of, you know, how serious the Marley industry, and I'm dropping it as industry because that's exactly what
correct.
It is.
It is the only industry in music, in reggae Jamaican music, the only industry that I see tangible. I don't see nothing else. I say hustling and bustling and them things. I don't see no industry other from the Marleys.
When it comes to imagery, when it comes to anything at all, and guess what? And reverence and respect, I agree with you. And you know what? Some people say that with disdain. Some people say that with I'm gonna send over a link to Lloyd so he can join us. Some people say that with disdain, and some people say that with distaste. When the truth is, I want to do whatever I am doing well enough that my legacy is protected. My children and my children's children and my children's children will be good from it. That's great. So I can't knock him. But my question pretty much is, what have they done so well that the rest of us are either one, not privy to, or two, just not doing, period?
People are selfish. It's selfishness. Because everybody wanted all. Bob Marley's a man that thousands of people line up on him yard. I collect money and all them things. And Bob Marley was a businessman, not just a singer. Bob Marley was a businessman. Because when we look on even a group like Blackwood from my own community, Blackwood, the Wailing Soul, all these great, Half Pint, Junior Reid. Because we see them all, the King Jammys, King Tubbies. Look on all the King Tubbies. Today you go to King Guardhouse, King Tubbies is a shock. The studio is a shock. And that's supposed to be a museum that people go there and say, oh, this is where the great King Tubbies, all a lot of greats come to King Tubbies. You know, the Lee Scratch Perry was a legend. Him come at King Tubbies, come learn dub business. Bob Marley to come there, Blackwood, all of them. But there's no legacy. There's no legacy. Blackwood don't have a legacy. All the great songs they sang and all these things. They show me something tangible where we can. Bob Marley 56 Oak Road, and them have Tough Gang International. So you can say, oh, there's a ton, and people work them in them uniform, they get their pay, they are protected, they have health insurance. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
The Marley is the industry of reggae, whether a man believe it or not. We say Dennis Brown sing hundreds of albums, Greg Riser, and there's nothing. There's nothing tangible.
Right.
You know, nothing. Even me as a man, sometimes, I love to know, say, me could have be a work that come when me I do and know the music, me have my office, me have my computer, I sit behind my desk, and me have to do inventories and know, say, yeah, I distribute 100 songs today, and me have to know, say, me have to go into the room and know, say, yeah, me have to get account, and I print those things and present it to my general manager, and then she present it to the manager, and then we don't say, yeah, at the end of the day, we don't say, okay, the book is balanced. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that in today reggae dancehall. Nothing. The Marley has that.
No, here's the thing, that because the name comes up a lot from so many vantage points. Sometimes people, anytime the name comes up, it comes up from even the vantage point of preferences and preferential treatment. And when it comes to the Grammys, I kind of differ a lot of times because I am yet to have seen an album that has gotten accolades that did not deserve it, right? And I say this explicitly, and I'm adamantly clear about it. I am more of a Stephen and Gang fan than I am of a Ziggy fan. So I don't dissect a lot of Ziggy's music and the music that gets submitted for the Grammys. But thus far, the ones that Stephen win on, the ones where Gang win on, I'm good. I'm happy with the wins. I'm a little bitter when Halfway Tree took it over Music is Life. But I'm not going to say it was because one was better or worse on the musical scale. I think I was just at the time a little bit more into Music is Life than I was Halfway Tree. But in terms of the quality of the music, I'm yet to say I'm disappointed. But I oftentimes wonder, how much is it of one person doing something correctly versus the others not doing it correctly? Because we can't be mad at them for do them thing right? If we are not doing it right. Is it a situation where it's a gatekeeper situation? Some people have been kept out, held out, whatever the case may be. Them just know the formula, and we, the rest of the world, don't know the formula. Ours is just that folks haven't been paying attention and are still not implementing the Marley formula.
Well, when it comes to the Grammy, we have to respect the Recording Association to acknowledge reggae as a music, because it's an American society. It's an American society, because we can go back to Jamaica. And all the award shows that the Jamaican people create, the arts them support it. You get the arts award and they are not there. So for me, the Grammy is great. The issue of the Grammy, a lot of people, you have to become a member. I'm a member of the Grammy Society. I'm a member of the Recording Association. I get my emails, and you got to register. Every year you have to pay your $100. A lot of people, that's why I say a man who go buy a Jordan for $150, but him don't want to pay $100 to the Grammy to be a voting member, to even vote for himself. And that is what the Marleys are doing. The Marleys then recruit people and say, listen, see $1,000 or whatever, I'm just assuming this. And you create a crew. I know, say, yeah, a man can vote for J. Cole. Suppose we say, all right, the Grammy is supposed to be a lot of category for Jamaican music. We're supposed to have ska, we're supposed to have dancehall, we're supposed to have the poetry, spoken words, whatever. But Christy Barber advocate for those things for years, and Roger Stephens. But we, as a Jamaican practitioner, we don't practice those things because we does not want to become a member. And it's right there. It's right. The information are available for you to become a member. But yeah, it don't take talk. To be a voting member, you got to pay. You got to pay to become a voting member, to have a talk.
Wow.
It's just like someone get up and talk against politics, but yet still attempt to vote. Man say, no, man, I don't vote. So why you talk? What's it talking about when your contribution is not there? You know? So it's the same thing with the Grammy.
I love that though, because I'll repeatedly say, if you don't want to vote, then what you do is you give up your right to complain. You give up your right to an opinion, period, right?
Exactly.
And my thing is this. Exactly. No, force it at the thing, it's just like a vaccine, but not force it at the thing. But at the end of the day, remember this. If you decide not to vote, right, not to lend your voice when it's time to make the decision, remember that the voice won't be accepted when it's time for the complaint. You know what I'm saying? So here we're going to write about now. We're going to bring on another esteemed gentleman. We've had him on the show before. I definitely got joy and a pleasure to talk with. Again, like I said, I love conversations. So when I come off of the conversation, I feel a little smarter than when I came on. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling that way right about now. I know I'm gonna feel so even more. And the thing is this, don't get me wrong, enough people talk to I have come off a conversation, burn brain cells, and I'm talking about less knowledge than when we start out. So right about now, I am very enthused to have you both at the panel. So let me bring in Mr. Lloyd Stanberg and his technological thing working. Let's roll. Let's try it. We can try it. Sir Lloyd, you can hear me? You're muted.
I'm unmuted now.
Unmute. Boy, your thing HD, man. Cool now. Cool now. Welcome to the program. Your thing crispy or HD. Welcome, sir.
You know?
Oh, yes, you're doing. Yes. That's right. You're doing.
Thanks for having me. What's up, Fitzroy?
Yeah, greetings, Sir Lloyd Stanberry. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Always a joy. Always a joy. Sir Lloyd, a lot of the things that I'm speaking to Mr. Fitzroy Francis about today are stuff that you and I have spoken about. However, what I must say and thank you for a lot of times is just your commentary. I tell you this, you just dropping a commentary on Facebook in the morning gives me something to enjoy for the duration of the day, right? The post is one.
I should probably drop it at night then.
But then you're gonna keep me up. That ain't fair. But more than the comments, you know, the part of it that I really dial into is the comments beneath the post. Now, we've spoken a lot of times, and you've spoken a lot of times about what's going on culturally, reggae music in Jamaica. And sometimes it's as plain as night and day. But somebody will always oppose, or somebody will always have a counter argument to something that to me is as clear as night and day, right? Now, does it frustrate you at all, or are you just enthused and entertained when you see the responses to some of your posts?
No, it doesn't frustrate me. I try to be patient. You know, we don't share a lot of information, one, and there are a lot of persons who are not curious enough to go seek information. So I understand, you know, when someone is not up to speed with, you know, what might be the topic of discussion. You know, it doesn't really frustrate me. You know, just try to be patient and, you know, let the discussion flow, you know, and hopefully at the end of the day, which is the purpose of my posts, I don't post to provoke anybody. I really don't, you know, but it seems like I do provoke people. But I post because I want people to have conversations and I want people to think about what I said.
Right.
Really, you know. So if I say, for example, that right now we don't have any reggae bands, no ska bands, and maybe, well, I didn't say maybe, and I said in the future we may see no reggae band or no dancehall band. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not predicting anything. What I'm saying is, have we learned any lessons over the years? You know, from our experiences, you know, where we create things and sometimes like we create them and then we run away from them, abandon them or don't nurture them, don't allow them to grow and expand and embrace them to the fullest.
Right.
And other people see the value in what we create and take it and run with it, you know. And if they did it with ska, if we are careless, they will do it with reggae. Well, let me rephrase. They are doing it with reggae as we speak.
Thanks for the correction. Thanks for the correction.
Yeah? And if we don't learn any lessons from our experiences, we may very well see a day when, you know, the bands that are playing Jamaican music are not coming out of Jamaica.
Right.
That's the point I was trying to make. I wasn't making any predictions, you know. or anything like that. I just want people to think about what we have experienced and look at what is happening currently.
So you weren't being a prophet by any means?
No, not at all. But I just want people to think about the possibility that could happen.
But it's already happening, though. You know. Again, like I said, I find the commentary hilarious, just the way people respond. And when people ask me this off the record, I generally say I feel like we as Jamaicans, we have a patriotic and a cultural affinity to the music where we claim ownership on it. It's not like R&B or hip hop where America doesn't claim ownership of R&B and hip hop, right? Our country. It's just different genres. But Jamaica claims ownership of reggae music and all of our music, and primarily because the truth is our music has done more to brand and market and bring revenue to our nation than any of the other resources. We've lost bauxite, we've lost the banana export, sugar export, all of them something. Our ganja we lose. But the only thing is we still have reggae music as the most, even though it's sonically, I'm going to say the most tangible resource, and also the one infinite resource. I think that's the reason why the people are so attached to it. But I think the flip side of that is whenever we take sentiment as the most, as the strongest part of our opinion, we can't be fair and we can't be unbiased. You mentioned in your post ska bands, and I even had the conversation today. Even the people who say, well, no, that's not true. Well, go on. Tell me one ska band in Jamaica. Just one, and I'm not asking for 5, 10, or 15. Tell me one ska band in Jamaica does not exist. Now, I'm not saying they're not bands that when people look for something. So I'm not saying that there aren't bands that when they're booked for something, they don't play a ska song, right? But the conversation I had today is this: the music that is performed on the stage comes from the music that was recorded in the studio, right? I want somebody to tell me about the last ska song that was recorded in Jamaica. So forget about the bands going out there. And I'm saying this just to accentuate the concept of abandonment, right? Where I agree, and I think it's an abandoned sector of the music, because I've checked, I've asked, I've done the research of people on there. Nobody can tell me when there's the last time an artist, a band, whomever went into a studio and recorded a ska song in Jamaica, with the exclusion of, an album that Richie Stephens dropped some time back, which was probably not even recorded in Jamaica. But talk to me a little bit about that. Have you heard? Maybe you have some knowledge. I don't.
Yeah, there are quite a few artists
recording.
Yeah, in fact, it has almost become a trend where a lot of artists have at least one ska tune on their album.
Right. I got one.
Or like it's almost like a token ska.
Yeah.
They just drop it in.
And that's what I meant.
A lot of artists have been recording ska songs on their albums. Or even if it's not on their album, they have recorded in their recent body of works. Yeah, quite a few people are doing that. But there's no band that I'm aware of, apart from now hearing of the band at Alpha, that Sparrow Martin has been, instrumental in keeping going.
Right.
Apart from that band, I'm not aware of any bands that are recording and performing live ska music that is coming out of Jamaica. And there are hundreds of bands that are doing that from all over the world.
Right.
They define themselves or brand themselves as ska bands, even though they're playing a lot of other music forms fused with the ska. They play reggae mixed up in the ska and rocksteady and punk, and but they define themselves, they brand themselves
as a ska band.
But the music is all about branding, It's all about branding, music business. See, the Latinos come and they brand something named reggaeton. It's all about branding. Reggaeton. I call that word. I get
a little cringe, Fitzgerald, let me ask you this. What's your take on the whole Let me clarify something. The views of G. Cole does not represent those of Mr. Lloyd Stanbury, Mr. Fisher Francis, Jamaicans.com, or anybody. So if I rant, it's a disclaimer. I see that I see an abandonment. This is just me, only because, again, I'm guilty too. We have a ska song, but it was a nostalgic thing. It was us holding on to a period of time, saying, "Let me just put this one thing on there," so it's always cemented and being there. We did that, but I'm not going into record a ska album myself. But the people who say they're musicians, right? We don't see that happening. I have my own theories behind it, which I'll get into in a second. But Fitzroy, talk to me about your view, your vantage point. What do you see? And we're getting specific right now with ska, but like I said, we can nail down every other genre and subgenre that's ever come out of Jamaica. But let's go with ska. What's your view when this is ska music and how it's been treated in Jamaica?
I would say unfairly. And I want to make a correction. Michael Rose has just did an album named Ska Ska Ska, a whole complete album with ska. Recently, maybe a year or 2 years ago.
Have that album, great album.
Yes.
But the only reason I didn't mention that is I don't consider it a Jamaican thing. Honestly, in terms of recorded in Jamaica.
Well, Michael Rose, and we have to connect that to Jamaican. But what Mr. Lloyd Stanbury said it is true, because the first time I went to New Orleans to do a festival. Mm-hmm. And that festival, it's a complete ska. Mm-hmm. And there was no Jamaican band or singer or musician playing ska.
Right.
None. I'm in touch right now with a virgin named Josh Harris. He was part of the Untouchable, which is the first ska band in the United States. And when I listen to some music that they did, I said, but Jamaica, we create ska. We're not even capitalizing. It's like, as Mr. Stanbury said, maybe in the future we'll do have a reggae band, because it might not come from Jamaica. Because when you go on the festival in Europe or the West Coast, you see more roots reggae band, which is non-Jamaican, than even reggae band, even Jamaican reggae.
Yep.
And then, tell me when last year about Jamaica, a dancehall band. All right, what's the Raging Fire was coming, and then mash up. What else come after that? I've not seen anything. So that post, as Mr. Lloyd Stanbury said, is not being prophetic, but it's reality. It's a logics.
Right.
And it can become factual if people don't learn and know, say, what, this is very important, and we must protect it.
Right.
We must protect it. We
have to.
Yeah.
The amazing thing about your post in a Lloyd is we use the word prophetic, right? Like Lloyd is a soothsayer, you know what I mean? And but the truth is
I'm a warner.
You're right.
A warner man.
You're the warner man. Personally, I don't see it as a prophetic statement. I see it as today's statement. It is pretty current. We're talking again, ska. I said to somebody I was having a conversation with today, let's say we did have those ska bands in Jamaica. Let's say some people right now decided, you know what, that's ska we're doing. Not 10 bands, one or two. What's the likeliness that they could sustain themselves in Jamaica? Right? Let's say that there's a ska band, we're going to do shows, we're setting up shows. Is the appreciation there? Because one thing, again, the views expressed by G. Cole does not represent those of Lloyd Stanbury or Mr. Fitzroy Francis. So here's the deal. I always feel like there's an entity that escapes blame here. And that is the fans. I think we have the wackest fans in the world. I think the fans suck. The views of G. Cole, the fans suck, all right? That's just me. Because we want blame, we want to have our say when it comes to the creative part of it. And we want to say people are abandoned and people are fused other things, and this whole hybrid thing ain't for us. Give us the authentic thing. But when the authentic thing comes, we ain't trying to support it. So you tell me this, Lloyd. If there was a ska band or two right about now, would they be able to sustain themselves in Jamaica?
Well, I don't think any band, ska, reggae, or otherwise, can sustain themselves by just focusing on the Jamaican market. But I have to support your point about the fans. In that we have a role to play. The fans, people who buy music and go to choose which shows they want to go to.
Right.
We need to play our part in supporting um, artists, bands that try to maintain or promote our cultural roots.
Right.
And we tend not to do that. So they get discouraged. They turn elsewhere. They go towards where they think they're going to get popular acclaim.
Right.
So the fans, who are usually the ones who also complain and talk about how we have abandoned and how people thief for music and thief for culture and things like that. They don't support our culture or our music.
True. True.
People love the music. So if other persons pick up the music and play the music and present it to their community, they're going to just eat it up. And that is what is happening. We are not supporting our own. So the fans have a big role to play, and they're a big part of the problem. They don't support the people who are trying to do what they claim other persons are stealing from us. But they're not showing appreciation for it.
In any way.
It's a huge issue. It's a big problem that we're facing right now, and I have been making these little comments a little bit more often than usual, because I think we are going through a period right now where the issues that we have been facing in our music industry are going to be exacerbated. They're going to become even more challenging as a result of this pandemic.
Right.
A lot of things are going to impact how we move forward in the music industry. What markets we're probably going to have to shift our focus to, because the United States government say you can't come in if you don't get a vaccine and you don't have a test after the 8th of November, unless you're an American.
Right.
That is what I understand the new rule to be saying.
But that's even saying that we have our product that we're taking out there, because here's something that, again, still on the scare vibe, right? I've noticed this when it comes to marketing something. I think not just musicians, not just the music industry, but people at large and businesses at large sometimes miss this mark because they focus on the marketing without focusing on the marketing audience. Some people are tailoring their stuff to an audience that they haven't identified the audience yet. So what's happening pretty much is the ska bands that we see. If we had these Jamaican bands, right? At the end of the day, your fan base and your listenership is what's going to drive this thing. When we look in the audience, let's turn the cameras off of the stage and turn it to the audience. Majority of the people coming out in the audience are not black people, are not Jamaican people, are not Caribbean people. All right, believe it or not, Carnival are different, something wind up, turn up. But when it comes to the roots reggae and the cultural stuff, the ska and whatnot, if you look in the audience, a lot of them, that's not us. So is that one of the things driving our musicians? Because we always say, well, the man them abandon the thing, whether it be reggae, ska, or whatever. But is the fact that the support is not there and it's just not a viable market, the commercial viability of the product is just not there, which is what leading people to either abandon it or create something different. Again, I'm putting it on the fans, because again, looking in that audience when those non-Jamaican ska bands are out there, it's not like it's Jamaicans shaking them legs in the audience. It's not the Jamaicans, right?
Well, that's not a new thing though, And I mean, I always love to use Bob Marley as my case study, and who we should learn from. Yeah, it was like that when Bob was playing and touring. The audience internationally were primarily non-Jamaican people.
Right.
So it has always been that with Jamaican music. So it's nothing new. The artists just need to know how to capture and keep that market going.
Right.
They can't run away from the market.
Right.
That's what you're saying, that they're turned off because they don't see themselves in the audience, meaning people like themselves appreciating their music. There's always been that way.
Well, not their period.
Always
There it's not that they're not, because we complain again about, let's call us like the white reggae bands and the white reggae artists, right? And the attention they're getting and the success that they're getting. But it's white people buying their music, right? So even though we are a small percentage of the populace, if we were buying our music, then there would be some form of sustainability. And I'm not talking about Jamaica only now, because stats will show you that technically there's more Jamaicans living outside of Jamaica than in Jamaica. You know? So if we were supporting the stuff, then that's one thing. But again, my concern pretty much is, it's not just reggae, it's not just ska, it's any product that we create, that we depend on a market that's not us. Ultimately, aren't they going to create their own versions of it? Because how long will they want to import?
That is true.
Something that they can create for themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you. The home base or the ethnic market that is overseas should provide the initial support, to keep whatever the band is doing viable to a certain degree.
Right.
So that they can transition from there into the wider market where the persons who they are playing to don't look like them. But to get there, they have to get the support of the home base, to a certain degree. There are artists who have succeeded without that home base. They got popular with the overseas non-Jamaican audience, and then Jamaica accepted them.
Right.
The majority rely on the home base support.
Right.
It's very important to have that home base support to make the product and the project viable. And we do not have we don't have that level of support that is needed. It's not out there.
Fitzroy, let me ask you this, because a lot of times, again, earlier I mentioned that the difference with reggae and adverse to many other genres is that they're independent wholly and solely, no matter where you are. Reggaeton, I don't know if reggaeton is bringing in revenue for Latin American countries and Latin countries in general. But again, if there was no R&B tomorrow, if there was no hip hop tomorrow, I don't think it would. While it would affect entertainment and revenue coming into persons' pockets and whatnot, I don't think it would be the tumble and the crumble of the nation. But truth be told, reggae has branded Jamaica more than anything else in the world. Reggae and Rastafari has branded Jamaica, because even when they don't want the Rastaman walk on the street, they'll put them on a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? And that is the marketing piece, as well as even the reggae music. You don't want the reggae music playing certain places at certain hours, but it's going to be in a commercial to be played 24 hours a day, because that's how we're branding the nation. Now, had this conversation with someone, and we feel like the government has dropped the ball in terms of, since it's, we might, government not sing reggae, but they do benefit from it more than anything else. Now, my question would be this, for all the folks who feel like the government should have a say. Anything government get involved in, our government take control over. So my concern is, should there be any fear if we do keep knocking on the government's door and say, government, help us out, what you gonna do? What about the repercussions? Should we have any fear of that, Fitzroy? What do you think?
Government is important to play a role, because they are the legislators to protect us as a practitioner. Because as I'm saying now, a lot of us, we have this fear to be involved in things like that. We see them, like they say. It's just like today, a man will say, boy, Rasta is not a religion, but yes, they want religious exemption not to take the vaccine.
What be like that?
A man will say, Rasta is a religion, but yes, they are seeking religious exemption not to do something. It's just like the music. Remember, reggae music started as an anti-establishment, anti-government music. But at the end of the day, the protection come from the government, because we don't have no entity. The music don't have no entity that protect us. So we still have to know, sir. And Babs the Grange is doing a good job. Babs the Grange, I must commend her. Believe me.
You know what's sad?
And I want to say this before. Mr. Light Sandberry and you said something about a lot of these white reggae bands. You know why a lot of these white reggae bands are started today? Like the Revolutions and the Soldiers, and they play a lot of free concerts. They go on minivan and tour They drive behind a lot of reggae artists and do open gigs. Like when they are coming on, is like 10 people in the venue. And today it flip.
Yeah.
It flip. A lot of people will say, oh, they want to. No, they sacrifice. They do a lot of free shows. So today, I am so proud of them because I was on the road, a lot of them. I see Mr. Lassenberg talk about a group named La Profector. 1999 when I go to Puerto Rico with Black Oro, Costa Rica, Black Oro. We never know about this group. And they were one of the biggest fans base. Then Black Oro get even more money than them because you know the road manager can see those things. They can see what they paid. And our money is like up and for them like this. But the fans base is like this, enormous. And today, in their own country, they can keep a concert and attract 100,000 people. Tell me which Jamaican artist today can play in front of an artist of 100,000 people in Jamaica with 3.5 million people.
None. We might not even have the venue for that either. But
we don't.
You're
even cumulatively, accumulatively with some fest and Sunsplash, we have never. Well, Sunsplash is different but today we don't have that. You put 100 artists and you still can't pull 100,000 people paid. I'm not talking about people who get ticket and complimentary paid fans to come and see artists in Jamaica, the land of reggae.
Yeah, that is facts. You can't. That's undeniable. We've seen that, and at the end of the day, the fact that we don't have a quality venue, and people say, well, Sumfest look good. It's not a quality venue. It's erected when Sumfest time come, right? So we don't have a quality venue for people to come and ply the trade. Now, again, when we talk about commerce, it's back and forth. So you can't have a quality venue if no revenue not coming. It just ain't gonna work. And we need investors and we need all those things. But we talk about those bands. What I will agree with you about is this. I've witnessed it. I've been there with our bands and other. I'll put it this way. I've been in venues where some of these white bands, Tribal Seeds, Through the Roots, Revolution, were there. And then some of our big name bands, not calling the name, were there too. All right. And then it was us. And what I learned from all of that stuff was merching, it was PR, it was extending beyond the stage, the actual grind of it. Because what I noticed with those little bands is that they always had their merch stuff set up. When at the end of the show, they were always interacting. They were always, we and I followed that blueprint. So we actually ended up making more money from merch and from CD sales in the location in an era of digital music, because these people weren't buying the CDs to go put it in their car. They're buying it to get a piece of the band and a piece of the artist. They're still going to listen on iTunes, which is a double sale for me. All right. But the bands that were the reggae bands, the major reggae bands, got off the stage. Bounce. You can't really talk to them. The boss out there, is a superstar thing, right? So a lot of what you mentioned right now in terms of the grind and the hustle, I can't be mad at them for, because they grinded and they hustled to get where they are. Now, again, talking about this music here, Lloyd, and the concept of us losing it, which I don't think we are. You mentioned in that post, after mentioning Ska, you said, and guess what? We might lose reggae and dancehall, right? And people started losing their minds. And we're talking about reggae and dancehall bands. We mentioned the bands that broke up and the bands and this and that. Why? Explain to me, why was it that you felt the need to mention not just Ska, which is damn near primitive at this point in time, just based on, sustainability, but the bread and butter that the people look at right about now, the reggae and dancehall, which is why you had people jumping out of cars on the highway, you had people, kicking over stools. Why did you feel the need to mention reggae and dancehall?
All right, let us just deal with reggae, right? Because we rarely ever did have any dancehall bands.
Right, true.
Dancehall, mostly a sound system driven part of the industry. So let us deal with the reggae. I think we all got very excited a couple of years ago when a number of bands were, coming out and making real good music.
Yeah.
And quite a few of them, never lasted. And at the same time when that was happening, or that has happened, over the same period of time when that has happened, we have seen where in the United States, the reggae band scene has exploded in terms of American-based reggae bands. So it's kind of jolted me, into wondering whether we could get to a stage at some point in time where, for whatever reason, the reggae bands in Jamaica are, when I say stifled into non-existence, because that's basically what is happening to them. They are forced to shut down.
Right.
For various reasons, where other people thrive who are doing what they do. And people even argue and saying, the reggae from Jamaica, and it's so different and they prefer that and all of that. There's always that argument. Yeah. But I have seen a trend where there are more non-Jamaican reggae bands being created and less Jamaican reggae bands. So if that continues, basic science and mathematics suggests that you might reach zero at some point.
Carry the one.
If you keep subtracting, there's going to come a point in time when you're at zero. So you have to stop subtracting.
Wow.
And start adding.
Right.
And that's all I'm saying. That if we don't add or do things to add, and we keep subtracting, we may end up at zero. And I'm witnessing some subtraction going on the Jamaican side of the calculator, and I'm seeing addition and multiplication happening on the non-Jamaican side. Yeah,
carry the one.
That's what I'm witnessing right now, and we all are witnessing that.
Yeah.
And some people prefer to say, "Boy, the man my tea for things, the man my tea for things." And that's all you hear. Them are tea for things. And I mean, I shouldn't laugh because it is ludicrous for someone to be sitting on here talking about people stealing Jamaican reggae music and culture when Jamaican music started by stealing American music.
Lord, keep a low profile.
And listening to American music and trying to sing like the Impressions and trying to sing like Curtis Mayfield.
Stop it!
Temptation. That's how we started.
It is so true.
That's how Studio One was built. And that's the nature of music. People listen to other people and get inspiration from other people and grow their thing. So it is ridiculous for Jamaicans to be talking about people stealing Jamaican music.
So is it safe to say
by listening to R&B and some man who could pick up some Cuban big band sound and say, well, our name's Catalites now, and whatever. So we listen to other people's music to create our thing.
So I guess
a lot of people them who listening to our thing and playing it, and that's what music is.
Maybe we can say the people them come back for them things.
Well, maybe, but I mean that's how music is, and music has always been like that.
But let me ask you this, Lloyd and Fitzroy. Again, some arguments that sometimes we don't want to have. Anytime you create a product that's going to be sustained by a certain market, that market doesn't look like you. Because at the end of the day, what I found within business and all other avenues is this. Non-Black people prefer to do business with non-Black people, just like how sometimes Black people prefer to work, because it's a little bit of familiarity, right? So my question pretty much is, we started it when it was started. And again, we know the origins of it, but when we started this from the get-go, it was inception. We were the pioneers, we were the creators, we were the ones that did it. To some extent, the only ones that knew how to do it. Is where we are today the inevitable place for us to be? We're looking at it right now, but was this the trajectory from day one when it was a product created for some other folks technically? Because yes, the inspiration of the music, and we're trying to uplift ourselves, and the Marley catalog and a lot of the impact and the potency of that catalog was really based on the time that he was around, right? It was revolutionary time, so it called for revolutionary music. Technically a turn-up time now, so it called for turn-up music. So that's kind of why things have shifted a little bit. But if we had always created this product for a market that was not us, Is it or was it not inevitable that we were going to lose this, so to speak? Fitzroy?
No, I wouldn't say we can't lose our music. Sometimes you have to increase the things that you can't lose by giving it. And that's what reggae is, as Mr. Lancer alluded to. Jamaican music adapted from a lot of music. J. Cole, I'm gonna tell you something. You see a lot of these dancehall artists, if their music did sell a lot of units, today they will be liable to be sued. Because today, melodies can be copyrighted. Melodies.
Yep.
It's not like before. And it can be detected. Because you have the mechanism now that when a song go out there, a man can, the software or the algorithm can say, oh, this is adapted from the melodies that guy do 100 years ago.
Yep.
So because you can't sue a man $1 million for a song that sell $10,000. It's a waste of time. So a lot of people know say, a lot of these DJs that you hear them a DJ, that sometimes listen to some original music. I mean, I say, this is where the music comes. This is where you get the melody from. And that concept. And yes, some man where you say a star and them things to them great and them show up on people and hype up themselves. And listen to old people music.
Yep.
That's what they did. You see me?
Yeah.
So we have to appreciate the evolution and adaptation of music. As last time I said, Bob Marley is a Curtis Mayfield fans. Bob Marley is living in Delaware. Black Uhuru biggest tune was Solidarity, you know. And it took me 20 years to know since I sing over song.
It's a cover, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
A lot of my favorite Dennis Brown, perhaps, and when me listen, I say, when me come to America and then my wife is a radio personality, and she play some tune and me I say, I wish man them there sing. She said, Rocket, these are the originals. And me I say, really? So I start research and find say a lot of Jamaican music are stolen melodies and stolen lyrical content. So we must appreciate what people are doing to our music today. That reggae and dancehall or whatever can be a potent force today.
Well, we prefer the word borrowed, okay? That stolen is a little.
No, it's just arrogant. Stolen music. The word stolen is arrogancy. Because no man can steal what you knowledge cannot be stolen.
Right. And it's funny you mentioned melodies. That we can even get less intricate than melodies in the Lord. We can talk about a lot of careers that's been built on, and this is 2021 where we nowadays I am proud to say I have seen people who do covers or reinterpretations go about it the right way, right? But in the earlier part of the reggae era and stuff like that, a lot of the stuff that we love right about and a lot of music that propelled a lot of our artists to stardom that we rate and say, boy, and next coming at Jesus, the one that when him start singing, right, is songs that were completely taken and they weren't taken the right way, right? They're just taking them. A whole heap of songs. I am familiar with a lot of the original songs because growing up I was more introduced and more exposed to a lot of R&B and pop stuff than I was even reggae and dancehall growing up. But me not telling a lie, sometimes you used to start wonder why the man them must sing Sanchez song wrong. Because you know Sanchez not always do about the lyrics I'm right, you know. But baby face, you know, I sing the man thing properly. Yeah. But that's a whole other conversation, Lloyd. Is there any form of, because I've heard people complain a lot about people taking our music and it come up and sometimes we suing, and every time we win a lawsuit, we start fretting. I remember when the Inika Moses situation happened. I remember when the most recent ones happened. Every time we win a lawsuit, we start fretting. Because I start saying, one day when people get up and say, you know something, it's our time to start suing, even though there's not much to come, right? But it'll eat up your funds in legal fees, even if they're not getting the money. Is that a concern that we're going a little too far and the reprisal is on the horizon?
Well, not really, because someone isn't going to file a lawsuit against an artist who cover their song if it sells 200 copies.
Right.
You know? Right. And a lot of the songs that are covered or the songs that sample or use other people's works in it that are done by Jamaicans, they don't sell enough, you know, to be worth filing a suit. So I don't think we're going to see a situation where everybody will be suing the dancehall artists who are stealing melodies or what. I don't think that is going to happen because they're not selling enough to warrant paying a lawyer to go file a lawsuit to recover damages for breach of copyright. I don't think we're going to see that happening. What I think we should hope to see happening is a greater appreciation for the fact that people listen to other people's music and get inspiration from other people's music. And Jamaica's music was built by doing that. And as they say, imitation is the best form of flattery. If what we were doing wasn't good, nobody would want to do it. So we should feel good that people are doing what we have been doing. That we were doing something good. So they want to follow, they want to copy it. So we should feel good about that rather than talk about people stealing. We should be concerned about the fact that we have thrown it away.
Right. So they just caught what we threw.
Yeah. We are the ones that should be looking at ourselves and saying, we are the persons who are not showing appreciation for this thing that so many other people love. And then they just take it up and they package it and present it to people who they know love it. And we are busy searching, seeking to try and find something else that doesn't even look like us or sound like us.
That is so true. That is so true. This music thing, I have never seen something more polarizing. You mentioned something earlier, Fitzroy, that Babsy Grange is doing a great job, right? Which I won't counter, won't disagree, but I think it's sad. What's sad about it is that every single time somebody speaks of somebody doing a great job, it's Babsy Grange, right? So if my team is going out to play ball every night and say, yo, LeBron is doing a great job, then we're still losing because nobody else now do a great job, right? So the question I ask pretty much is, how do we, and if it is even possible, for us to expand upon the people who take reggae music seriously for the nation and help in propelling it? This is not rocket science. If she's been doing a good job, what if we had 10 Babsy Granges? Is it just a financial thing? Is it something? I've always felt that the thing about reggae music, why it hasn't gotten the support from government and other entities and even the private sector, is because they wouldn't be able to regulate it. And in other words, people would be getting wealthy that are not them. And people would be getting wealthy that don't look like them. It's almost like the marijuana thing where for years I feel like the reason why they cracked down on it as much as they did is because the best weed never come from America, right? And they couldn't regulate whatever. But now after they've decided how they can do it in the lab and chemicalize it and whatever the case may be and commercialize it, then it's all good. No, let's legalize the thing. From the musical standpoint, I kind of feel the same way in terms of the reason why we don't get that support from private sector and from the government is because if they do so, they personally feel like the revenue coming back is going in at another pocket outside of theirs. It doesn't mean they won't benefit from it, but that's the ultimate thing about greed. You stop looking into your pocket and start looking to what's in somebody else's pocket. What do you think?
Well, for me personally, I think it's a situation where we have had a tradition in Jamaica where people don't take music to be a serious business. Even the people who are in the business of music, even the artists who are in the business of music, don't take it to be a serious business. And if they don't take it to be a serious business, then the fans that they expect to support them are going to treat it likewise. The government, who they expect to support them, is going to give them some token support. And nobody with money is going to put their money behind them because the artists, are not treating it like a business. Yes, I think that is what has happened for far too long in Jamaica, which is why you may have individual artist success. You will always have the Shaggy and you have the Sean Paul and you have the Marleys and you have individual success, but you don't have growth of an industry. And on the other hand, inside of government, you have one government minister who, because she comes from the creative industries, So that's what Babsy is. That's where Babsy is from. She's from the creative industries. She's gonna keep doing what she can do because she understands. But overall, we don't take the business of culture to be a serious business, and that is all of us. The practitioners of the culture don't take it serious. They don't want to sign a paper.
Right.
And they don't understand anything to do with rights.
Right.
They don't try to protect the rights that they have when they create this content.
Still, or is that the past?
We have improved.
Okay.
We have improved a lot, right? But we're still far away from where we're supposed to be. You know, as people who are doing a business that is a very complex business. Music business is more complicated than hotel business. You know, hotel business have so much PhD people and degree people working in the hotel business. Kind of trained people. It's an easy business to run compared to a music enterprise. Far more complex. But nobody don't want to study anything. Nobody don't want to treat anything as important as a business practice. Paperwork or whatever, you know, punctuality, whatever it is, all the things that you need to be professional, we tend to play those things down as practitioners in the industry, first and foremost. So if you don't respect your business, the person who you want to invest in you ain't going to respect your venture enough to put this money there. And the government is going to think twice about giving you the full 100 support that is required to nurture any industry. You know, they put X amount of support behind tourism or whatever they identify as an important industry to the country's development. The government will support.
Right.
Everybody says music is the greatest thing for Jamaica, but you don't see it in terms of policy. From government. You don't see it in terms of where money people put their investment. You know, Grace Kennedy. I said, man, is you post some? Is you? No, a friend of mine posted a Grace Kennedy Kalalo.
Yeah, in Africa.
You know, grown in Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
So the man said Grace Kennedy reached Africa before Rasta. The Rasta man post that, you know.
Well, I'm glad you bring up the point there. I'm glad you bring up that point too. That's a very important point because even the Rasta man them were advocate for all these great things over the years. Even today, they industrialize.
Right.
These are the people, these are the corporate people are selling it in the ganja, the peanut, name all the things, the healthy living.
Yes.
It's only talk. It's only talk. We don't industrialize because, as the Light Stanberry said, nobody want to sign documentations and the rights and fundamental principles and all these things because we are in the age now. We are in the information age. We need to get rid of this illusion mindset. You know what I say? And in terms of Babsy Grange, where I commend her, remember Lisa Anna was playing that role, but Babsy Grange is grassroots. She used to do producing. She used to do around Edward Siago, who link with the grassroots artists. Them, she know the exploitation. She know the foolishness that like the artists talk and do, and give them rights. Because sometimes I will complain, say, "Boy, a man thief him rights." A lawyer teach me say, "It's a once a man present a document to you, it's a consideration. If you sign it, it become an agreement." So once it is signed by you, your representation, or whoever, you can't send a man rob you.
Yeah.
And a lot of artists, they don't take, all them look on the money, you know. Them look with a contract, they say.
The upfront.
You know what I say? I can have an experience where Lady Saw, she do a thing with vitamin C. When Miss Marsha seems to bring the contract, come give her, it was for $5,000, but there's a clause in it, say, if this song sell $1 million, you're not gonna get $1. And she signed it. And Miss Marsha tell her, I said, don't sign it. But who can reject 5,000 US at a time? So sometimes you sign away your rights, which a lot of artists did and still doing today because of lack of information, and they don't want to listen to the right people.
Now in 2021, do we use phrases like lack of information still, or do we use phrases like ignoring the information, because the thing about it is this: I can give that out to the predecessors and the OGs who started then and didn't have the info. But when you've had a plethora of people that go through the struggle, have gone through the struggle, have been exploited, have exploited themselves, right? And we look right about now and don't think we can learn from that. I don't know if I want to give them the out, but I agree with you 100%. No, somebody brought up something a while ago that has always been a part of my mind. This word of class. We come from a place in Jamaica where, you know, there's a lot of isms. Some people say, boy, it's not racism. You did it too. But there's something called classism, right? Jamaica, reggae music, dancehall music has always been branded as a music of the poor, the ghetto people, and whatever the case may be. And every single year we see the decline in appreciation, the decline in exposure, the decline in revenue. But one thing that continuously grows is carnival, right? Wind up, turn up, costumes up, costume not cheap, right? How much does class and classism, no different from, again, sports, certain sports you see? I've always felt like when it comes to basketball, a lot of athletes aren't appreciated as much. The Kobe's of the world, the Steph Curry's of the world, because of the fact that they didn't come from poverty. How much of that class factor weighs down heavily on reggae music? Why it's being stifled to some degree, especially within our homeland of Jamaica? Where does class factor?
I think it definitely plays a role in holding the progress of the music back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from a number of different perspectives. The majority of the early players of the music were from rural and what we love to call inner city communities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were not from middle class families. There were some, you know, but the majority were not. Yeah. So there was always, you know, that disconnect between those players who came from that sector of the society and, you know, the people who had the money to spend on the cultural content that they created. And Jamaica is a classist society, has always been.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that has affected the development of the music. You know, I mean, affected it so much so that there were reggae artists at a certain point in our history who came from middle class backgrounds. And if they were not as good as they have proven themselves to be, I mean, talk like Third World Band, you know, which is my all-time favorite reggae band.
Me too.
Of all bands, yeah. If they were not as good as they were, they probably would not have made it. Because when Third World came, it was about Uptown Boy, them, and there's that kind of thing going on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the classism in Jamaica has affected the development of our music.
Right.
No question about that. I mean, in recent years, we see it again. You know, when people like Protege come on the scene and start do their thing and welcome Uptown Boy, and so we always have had that problem,
right?
You know, where the classism and the difference between who is uptown and who is midtown and downtown prevent the kind of a harmony and environment that music needs to grow and thrive. So yes, it has definitely played a part in stifling the growth of our music. Classism that still exists in Jamaica.
Right. What do you think about
it now as it was, but it has hampered us along the way.
I that's my outlook. What do you think, Fitzroy?
Yeah, I agree. But it's a revolution because when you say Bob Marley talks say, yeah, you can't, we're not 4 foot. That's why we are going to a studio where we have a bigger guy go record. That's why I say to you, say, a lot of people who don't, artists, musician, producer, who never have the will for the producing or be a part of the music. No one can stop you today. We are talking today, right now. Yes, classism exists because you see the corporates, a lot of these artists that you see, you see a lot of artists, you know, the corporates pay them a lot of good money to come and perform at them seminars and all these things, but they don't talk those things, you know. The tourist industry too. A lot of artists go perform for the tourist boards and them get good money, more than what the regular promoter will pay them. But we don't know these things. But a lot of my friends them go do it too. So me know said the classism barrier will break that barrier. We broke that barriers. Even though it is in existence, we have break that barrier because no one can stop us today from doing reggae music. And that is important. We not have to go beg a guy and say, yo, we have to stand up our student and get man and say, yo, you have to go buy, go down, so go buy. No. Them things are gone through the door.
Right.
A lot of things gone through the door. Today, a lot of those things gone through the door.
Now, the fact that people have access to do that right now, which again, the amazing thing about life is that every pro comes with a con, right? So right now, the isms are being broken down, we can say, based on the fact that accessibility is more abundant, and the resources and infrastructure is more cost effective now. You know, what it costs to get a song out or what to have a recording studio or whatever is not what it used to be back in the day. The question about that though is this: one of the biggest arguments that we have about reggae music and why it doesn't exceed the borders is quality, right? We claim, oh, quality is not right, but the easy and the access, the ease with which we can create music right about now, something start today and it done by tonight, is affecting the quality too. So that part of it is an argument that people bring up a lot. The quality. Lloyd, talk to me a little bit about this quality thing. The music that you hear coming out right about now. Don't get me wrong, I hear some music coming out that's straight quality, nice, dope, quality music, right? But then there's an abundance of stuff that is the other thing, right? I don't want to say it's inferior quality, but it ain't the nice quality. Talk to me a little bit about quality. Does that really affect the music and our success as much as people say it does?
I think I don't think it should. I think we have enough, and I'm going to use the word, because you used it, quality. We have enough quality music being produced. Enough. Yeah, a lot. Right. Yeah. Good music being made by quite a few artists in Jamaica. I think the issue is more a question of, marketing, how we go about marketing what we have produced. There's always going to be substandard music because it is easy to make music. It's like, you have substandard everything today because it is easy to do stuff with technology. So everybody think that they are now an expert in whatever an app or something, some free software allows you to do. You become an expert in that particular area, Technology has allowed us to be able to do a lot of things that we could not do before. So it's not unique to music. So we're going to have people making substandard music, both in terms of the technical quality of the music, as well as the content of the music, from a creative standpoint, lyrical content, the structure of the music, musically, because the persons who are making it just have access, but they don't know. They're tone deaf. They can hardly put together a good sentence, so they just chat a bag of rubbish, and call it lyrics. We're gonna have that because it's easy to make a record.
Right.
Yeah? But a lot of good music is being made, and if we had good marketing systems in place for that good music, I don't think the poor quality would have affected, the advancement of the music to any great degree.
I get
good
you.
quality will rise if we're making it available to the public. Problem we're having is that money always corrupts everything. So you can find, and we have found, that because of favors or payola or whatever people use to get their thing pushed more than another person's,
Right.
that substandard thing might rise.
Right.
And maybe they're doing a better job at marketing than the people who are doing quality music.
You know, it's amazing you say
their
that
marketing
because
strategies might be questionable. Don't get me wrong. But they're
to say the least.
paying attention. Yeah, they're paying attention to the marketing of their product.
To say the least, sir. Questionable to say the least. You know, we talk about when I talk about quality of the music, I bring that up primarily. We're talking about the overall sound, you know, mixing, mastering, the whole nine. But the reason why is because as we grasp at straws, we try to say, okay, this is what it is, that's what it is. I have found commercially, hit-wise, right? The songs that have been the most commercially successful technically aren't necessarily the best produced if you play them amongst the ones that we deem the greatly produced ones. No different from, I've always found that the trained, no disrespect, the trained musicians tend to make what we call better quality, but not better records, right? A song, people say, why the song, the lyrical, somebody can sing better, but they're good records out there, right? That may not be the best produced records, the lyrics might not be, but it's just an awesome record. But you mentioned, no, in that whole mix, sometimes the lyrical part of it. One thing that people have always used to put on reggae music is the quality from a lyrical standpoint, which I've always had a little bit of an issue with that because of the fact that not every music, because it's branded reggae, is supposed to save the world. Sometimes our music does that if you feel good, rock and sway and groove, right? But here's the thing. In other genres, terrible lyrics don't inhibit the sales of the music, right? R&B music right about now, the worse the lyrics is, the more it sells. Hip-hop music, the worse the lyrics is, the more it sells, right? Reggae music, I feel like, don't get me wrong, people are listening to reggae for a different reason. However, my question is this, and what I'm trying to figure out is, that blame that we point on the lyrical content, is it real, or is it another straw that we're grasping at?
I think it's real. Because reggae music is different from other music forms. Yeah, reggae music grew and became popular because it represented issues more than any other music that I'm aware of. You know, and that is what provided the fuel for the growth of reggae music. It grew and expanded at a time when a lot of the writers were addressing issues, and issues don't have to only be confined to, you know, apartheid and injustice and so on. Issues can relate to love and relationships as well. But reggae music focused in its growth period, or Jamaican music rather, grew primarily because it spoke to issues that people could relate to in their everyday life, issues that affected people,
right?
That meant something to people. And it didn't have to be about a struggle and a revolution. It could it could be about a love affair.
Right.
So that is what reggae became known for, a music that spoke to people's emotions and what they were living and experiencing. Yeah. So when a man come and sing something that just don't make no sense, it's a problem for the advancement of reggae. You know,
right.
It is to how people perceive reggae and Jamaican music as something that is inspiring, uplifting, soothing.
So kumbaya music.
It conjures up all kinds of emotions, make you want to get up and go fight for your rights. You know, that's the nature of this music.
But does that work simultaneously when it comes to commercial viability though? Because the music that is there to inspire and is kumbaya or whatever the case may be are people. And here's the thing, why I say I wonder about the lyrical part of it too, because when we think of the artist and the music that has sold the most, right? We're talking about Bob Marley, right? We're talking about music that's been inspired by his times, because I'll say it again. Views of G. Cole don't represent Mr. Lloyd Stanbury or Mr. Fitzgerald Francis. The thing about reggae music is this. I don't know if Bob was born in 1993 and dropped the same catalog, if it would have the same effect. I question that, right? Just based
Bob
on the
Marley,
times.
if Bob Marley was here today,
No, not if he was here today. Not if he was
no,
here
but I am
today.
saying, I
Uh-huh.
am saying that if Bob was here today and
Mm-hmm.
Bob Marley decided he was going to do a show today and sing the same songs that he wrote 40 years ago, if he was going to do a free show, there would be no venue.
True.
That crowd.
True.
Because of,
but
no, hold on. With today's issues, today's issues, you could
Right.
sing those same songs that he sang over 40 years ago and
have that
biggest
impact.
crowd on the planet. Yes.
Right. Based on origination, how it started there. The question, what I'm trying to figure out is this: how much is it really the times? Because we talk about him coming right now and singing songs right now, but let's say it was those times, right, had passed, and Bob came out 1992 when the things are a little different. You think it would have the same impact it has had over from the 70s till now?
I'll have to refresh my memory as to what was happening in the 90s because that's the phenomenal thing about Bob Marley and Wailers music is that it has worked with every time.
Right.
From the time that he made it right through, it has been relevant every day from when it was made up to today. There was no point in time when it became irrelevant or less impactful. You know, so and it's because of because his music more than any other spoke to people's soul and their emotions and things that affected them. You know, and not just Bob, all of the artists who contributed to the growth of Jamaican music,
right,
from 60s, 70s coming right through. They wrote songs that touched people and spoke to their daily experiences and them soul.
Right.
Frivolous, nonsensical stuff. You know, so we have too much of that, I think. Frivolous, nonsensical, just a bunch of words put together.
So there's no equilibrium.
It not feed you in anything.
Which is what we come to the reggae table for.
From those songs. It just disturbs the equilibrium more than anything else.
And we come to the reggae table for sustenance, and we're not getting that, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and I asked,
and it doesn't always have to be revolutionary.
Right.
It doesn't always have to be about Rastafari. It doesn't always have to be. You know, it can be a love song. It can be about three little birds.
Right.
You know, rise up this morning. It can just be the sun is shining and the weather is sweet.
Right.
And it makes me want to move my dancing feet. You know, it doesn't have to be I need to go and fight and lick down Babylon wall. It doesn't have to be that. Reggae speaks to everything that we experience. And we're losing that among a set of new artists who just string some words together.
You know, the main reason why I agree, which I have to agree. One of the main reasons why I always agree with that sentiment is, and I ask everything because of the conversations I have, but one of the main reasons I agree with that sentiment is this. We never got back to the Bob era because the Bob time never resurfaced. However, in the 90s, there's a time when we were closest to that type of music. That was the era when I call it the one drop era too. The Sizzlers and everybody with job before or after the name was doing their thing, right? The Lucianas of the world. And that was the type of music that was coming out of Jamaica heavily. I'm not saying that there weren't dancehall things creating a somewhat balance, but that was a time when the one drop era was there. Sizzler had a barrage of great tunes, Luciano, Jack Heward, Everija, Ja Mason, Jeverija, right? And that, as I traveled the world, that was one of the times when, since Bob's era, which I was not alive for, that I saw the closest to what I was taught and told based on Bob. So it makes me say and wonder if that is really true, where the lyrical part of it, whether it be revolutionary lyrics or not, but just lyrics of love, because even revolutionary lyrics are love lyrics, because it's telling you we're fighting ultimately for a family, which is love, All right. So even just the love songs, you mentioned the Three Little Birds. We had a bunch of those coming out too. But right now, it's a little bit more aggressive. And when we talk to the non-Jamaican ear and the non-Caribbean ear and so forth, it almost seems like that's a little hard to digest. Fitzroy, when you are putting out music, artists come in your studio, artists that you want to work with or stuff like that. Is that something you are conscious of? Is that something that you are very, very conscious of to say, listen, what we're putting out message wise, even though the artist is bad, because I only but that we're a negative song and it's bad, but we just can't make it past my CD collection. We can't share that with the world. Are you very, very conscious of that when an artist comes in your studio or at least requests to do some work with you?
Yes, I am. And I look at the music like a battery. A battery have negative and have positive. But it is what make the computer go or the radio played. You know, it's not positive. The battery don't have just two positive or negative. Because even in the Bob Marley era and time, we still have the general echo. We still have the Welton Ireland. We had the raggedy thing. In that answer, same way. So everything is the same to me. You know, it's just what really happened today is that is what the people have been fed with. They're not the music that is being played. You know, because today, you know, there's a lot of more university students who are listening reggae. Okay? Did you know that one of the biggest circuit for reggae is the college market?
Yep, and college radio.
And a lot of our artists, they can't go there because their lyrical contents. You now go to university and when you look upon a man come sing some ill grammar thing to you, you think you're going to accept that? No. So the whole dynamics change. Bob Marley, I look at music in different era now. So yes, for Bob Marley is exception. Because Bob Marley did live in America. He had an experience that a lot of artists never have. Because some man come America, but Bob Marley didn't live here. So he understand the economics, he understand the way of life, the way of people think, and then put that in his music. That's why today is the most relevant artist in every era. Even John Lennon speak about that. Them ask John Lennon, you know, which music him see as the future, and him say reggae. And he wasn't talking about what happened today. He was talking about Bob Marley, the Third World, the Mighty Diamond, the Black Huru, the Culture, the Burning Spear, the Jimmy Cliff, etc., etc. You understand? Yes, dancehall and what is an escape for enough you because we say I whole up of the bad youth them. I whole up a gunman turn musician you know, because if it wasn't the music, a lot of them would have killed people and rob and them thing. You understand? We understand the whole dynamics about that. That's why sometimes I'm not gonna come on the here and bash a lot of youths. You know, look for Shabba Rankin. Shabba Rankin sit down beside 27 man and Joes will tell him say, Shabba, you see you, me I carry God jammies. All of them friend them dead. Every single one of them died. It's only him alone today alive.
Wow.
Which is a testament for them that music can save you. And yes, the type of music that he did was seen as the raggedy. And we compare that today what's going on with what's happening. I said, no, but it's a whole different thing. It's like it got to a different level. It turned X-rate. It's more than
like a pasta.
Yes. Exactly. You know, so for me, when an artist come to me and say I'm gonna sing a song, I ask them say, listen, because I know I say, boy, I'm gonna write up music. Me, man, I like grammatize music because believe me, I don't like ill grammar. Because enough reggae man, you know, them sing proverbs and adjectives that I want for them thing not good enough. But become it, as a Stanberry say, money behind it. But me don't play that game there because me tell a man say, yo, you can't sing at Israel as I was supposed to be. If a man want to vex, me not advise him. I'm not gonna advise you because we can't make a man think that boy fits to our friends that put that true. That's why my music are selected. You know?
Yes, hooked on phonics.
I'm not gonna produce it, so go find a different producer. You don't have to sing for me. I like write out music and grammatize it, and then we can sit in and know, say, all right, we can go in the studio and we'll structure the lyrical content and we'll put a good music together. So when kind of go proceed with more know say after 100 minutes there on a man can say, nah man, Fitzroy Francis produce some good music, you know, and it will outlive me. That even my children can be proud of me. That's what I'm talking about. Point.
I mean, if you look back at the the artists that we love to quote and reference, when you say Baba, when you say Peter,
Right.
no, eh? Just they're listening to some Peter
Intellectual
Tosh songs.
perfecto.
Yes, and
Yeah.
listen, the English is properly written.
Yeah.
Like Peter Tosh, the most militant of all of them, yeah. But he wrote his songs in the Queen's English.
Yeah.
He chatted like a Jamaican, though,
Right.
Yes.
But
Yes.
look at what he wrote.
Yes.
Quite
Everybody
very
who
articulate.
speaks English, yes. Everybody who
Yes.
speaks
And
English
him create
understands
words to like
every
him say
word that
systems
Peter
and
Tosh
all these
said.
things.
Right.
Yeah. So
Understand every single word that Peter Tosh utters in his songs. Every word is understood.
Even if it's conversation.
And you can't be more militant and more roots and
Down
more
Peter Tosh.
Rasta and more African and more Jamaican than Tosh.
Yep.
So all of them the people who think that them have to chat like them don't know what them saying to represent Jamaica. It's nonsense.
Right. Right.
Bob Marley, same thing. If you listen to Bob Marley's lyrics, everybody who speaks English understands what he's saying. So that is why their music will live forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And that is why they will be acclaimed the way that they are. Black Uhuru, same thing. Mighty Diamonds, same thing. Dennis Brown, same thing. Gregory Isaacs, same thing.
Right.
They sing in English.
The ones we see successful, people can understand.
People can understand what they are saying.
Yep.
So it is important.
J. Cole, a lot of people don't understand Jamaican patois now. So when a man gonna say, yeah, man, talk, what? When you go in front of multicultural people, if you don't speak standard, not even stand, but Jamaican English that people can understand. That's why dancehall is limited. Because people, I'm gonna say, what do you mean by that? They don't understand and dance to the music, but they don't understand a word. A lot of us are saying.
Right.
Believe me.
What I would say is that is why Ed Sheeran's dancehall will outsell their dancehall any day.
Because everybody can understand.
Everybody understands what Ed Sheeran is saying. And say, I'm in love with the shape of you. But it's pure dancehall in playing.
Right.
The dancehall song that 100%. But what he's saying can be understood by hundreds of millions of people.
Right.
So if you want to be in that market and play in that space, then we love our language part of we love it, and everybody love it. Other people love it, but it communicates to a limited number of people.
It's not universal.
It's not universal. So you're going to limit yourself in terms of who you will reach.
Right. That's true. It's almost like speaking another language, which is the reason why some of us don't listen to some Spanish records and whatever, because we just don't understand it. It's no different, right? No, there's two things. One, we talk about the language and comprehensive. Can people comprehend what's going on? Are we relying on the rhythm? Are we relying on the beat? Which is ultimately why at one point in time, producers were bigger than the artists, because to some degree you could have just run the instrumental because you weren't understanding the song. The other thing I wonder about, we talk about all the poor things from lyrics to attitude to this and that, but it seems like the most detrimental to it all comes right back down to poor business and poor business practices. So now what we have, which we never had before, are tertiary institutions that are focusing on this. And when I say institutions, I just mean two. You know what I mean? I'm just making it sound sexy. But we have Edna Manley, and we could, to some degree, I don't even know if we want to consider Alpha a tertiary institution, but it is a higher institution musically, right? So we have people who are going to Edna to study musicianship and get a formal training in that. We got people who are going to Edna to study management and all kinds of stuff. Since education, literacy, poor business practices are what hindered the music, has the time for success passed, or are these institutions right now that have these students going in there and learning and getting themselves educated? Are we on the horizon, and are we on the cusp of a turn? Are we seeing that bell curve now where things are going to be better because we have more educated people coming into the field? Or has that place and that time for success passed for us?
I don't think the time for success has passed. And I think we have done a good job in terms of dealing, well, we have done a reasonably good job in terms of dealing with the educational aspect of things. Sum it up, I would say creatively, we do not have a problem. We never ever did have a problem. In terms of understanding the business of entertainment, we are better today than we were years ago. So we have improved right there. What is still missing is the marketing. It's still missing. And I'm referring to Jamaican music when I'm speaking here now. What is still missing is the marketing.
Right.
Because we all know that Jamaican music is a global product that the whole world consumes and wants to continue to consume. What is missing is our ability to tap into the markets. First of all, to decipher the markets, to know where they are, you know what, and to tap into them and participate effectively in Latin America, for example, which is the fastest growing music market in the world. You know, we have not tapped adequately into that market. I mean, where the US market, we're struggling to maintain a footing within the live reggae market of the United States. When I say we, I'm referring to the Jamaican-based artists.
So are we innately and culturally poor at marketing? Is that what it is? Because they've been doing a good job of marketing the country, the tourism, the beaches.
No. We know how to market. We just don't want. For some reason, we don't want to market reggae.
Oh, okay. So we don't lack the know-how.
We don't lack the know-how about marketing at all. That's not what I'm saying. We have not applied the marketing skills and investment savvy that we all have. We invest in all kind of ventures that explode. Jamaicans have done that. You know, Jamaicans have marketed stuff that the whole world consumes. Grace Kennedy, Kalalo coming out of it reached Africa before us, as the man said. Right?
Kalalo the benchmark.
No, I'm just saying that we know how to market stuff. Right? We do. You know, so we don't have marketing skills. That doesn't apply them to our cultural industries, our cultural sector.
Right.
No, that to me is the missing link.
Right.
We have improved. We have educated. Edna Manley has done a phenomenal job. Edna Manley College in creating musicians over the last 15, 20 years. Phenomenal job.
Right.
Edna Manley College never shut down. I don't know what has happened to reggae music right now. No, seriously.
Yeah, I agree. Completely, 100%.
Because they have really turned out a lot of musicians, real musicians. Yeah,
right.
Which is the foundation of any music industry. You have to have people who can play the music.
Right.
So we don't have a problem in that area.
Right.
And we have educated and informed a lot more people about how the business works.
Right.
We still need to do a lot more with that, you know. Right? But we're still not marketing.
Right.
I've not put the structures in place to allow us to compete in the markets where people want to consume this music that we have created. So them just consume it from the American bands in that market, the European bands in the European market, and the Latin American bands in the Latin American market, which are the three gigantic segments of the world music market. All of them, reggae is big business, but not for the Jamaican-based people.
Well, something that I really like both of your opinions, and the clock is up on us. So well, I shouldn't say the clock is up on us. The clock done pass away. But there's a lot of things that are recurring themes here. no matter who we have the conversation with, where we have the conversation, as long as we're having an intelligent conversation about the culture and the music, there are certain themes that are recurring. Poor business practices, poor marketing practices, right? The marketing thing comes up a lot. The lyrics come up a lot, right? Oftentimes we even talk about, does it really matter? Because at the end of the day, we talk about the articulation and of course how people can enunciate and make the things sound great. That's you, all of us over 40 years old, at least me over 40. But are the youth trying to hear that? And at the end of the day, who is the consumer? I buy music. Not everybody that is my age group around me buys music. What I will say is, surprisingly enough, I've found that the people younger than me are worse. They've come up in an era that they think music is free, so them not buy, period. So we have a whole plethora of different things right now that are confusing and conflicting the market. What I'd like to find out is this now. We're talking about liaisons. How do things get to certain places? Bob Marley's success, a lot of people had attributed to Chris Blackwell. A lot of other bands that I know of that have made it in the doors of certain places, their representation has been white, right? Now, at the end of the day, I've had this conversation off ear, on the ear, whatever the case may be. How important is it for us to have that white manager, have that white representation for us to get out there? Because again, we're trying to get into a marketplace, into an arena that doesn't look like us. A lot of times they want to work with people who look like them. How important is it? And I say this with it's double-edged sword, because that means ultimately taking away the job and the responsibility from those people who, I don't want to say are entitled to it, but are trying to build up right now. Those managers going to Edna Manley and other places right now to learn this craft and this management skill. How much and how strongly do we also rely on and need the white person to be our liaison to the world?
I don't see it as a color question. You know, I see it more as a question of the need for collaboration and cooperation to take your product into a new space. Yeah. So if you want to get your product into Asia, you strike the appropriate collaborative business agreement with someone who is an Asian person. You know, so that is how I look at it.
Right.
So if you want to get your product into a market that is predominantly Caucasian, then you structure the right kind of collaborative arrangement with someone from that community. Yeah. That doesn't mean that you are giving up your space by any means. You just need to structure the right kind of collaborative or cooperative agreement between you and the person in that market or that community that you are not a part of.
Right.
And international trade and international business has always been like that. You know, music business is no different from that business, from any other business.
Right.
So I don't look at it from the standpoint of a color situation. I more look at it as you needing to collaborate with someone from a community that you are trying to penetrate, that you are not a part of. Yeah, and you just strike the right arrangement with someone within that community to advance yourself. That is how I look at it.
And Fitzroy?
Yeah, I agree with what like Mr. Lightstanberry said, and you know, it's like going into Europe as a road manager. You still have to have a tour manager who can speak the language. Because you can't go in Sweden or in France. Because most Jamaica people, we don't know other language. So sometimes it's representation, proper representation, you know, with, as Mr. Lightstanberry said, collaboration. I have no problem with that. I don't see no color when it comes to those things, because I have not seen no reggae artists who've been successful with an all-black person up to today. I've not seen it. If somebody can prove me wrong, prove me wrong. I've not seen it.
Right.
I've not seen it. And when you have black people in Jamaica and do your business, they either underprice you or overprice you. And then it mash up the whole thing.
Right.
Because a lot of artists going out there, going on tour, and when you see them rider, them have all these things, them rider, when the promoter look, the promoter say, wait, I'm going to spend $50,000 to make $1,000. It's not going to work. You know? So that's why the artists don't even tour. Promoter out there, them not accommodating that.
Right.
You're not. So it take collaboration and people can understand. So because the reggae music is facing a great inflation right now. The people don't know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation is eating our industry. A lot of artists, as big as them things to them in Jamaica, as great as Barrister Man is. You ever see Barrister Man go on the West Coast go tour?
Speak about that all the time. He's very strong with the diaspora.
He can't.
Right.
He can't because there's no market. There's no one gonna buy a ticket to come and see a Barrister Man.
Right.
You don't have that market.
But is that because the diaspora is not heavy on the West Coast? Because what I realize is Barris is the king of the diaspora. New York,
go
Miami,
back to marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to marketing. So maybe I don't want to speculate or assume or alleged.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe him don't have the right person collaborating with.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
I got you. You.
Yeah. So it take collaboration with the right person, in the community that you want to be successful.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's necessary, you know.
I'll say this: the most inspiring thing about the conversation with you, gentlemen, today is that I hear optimism. You know, a lot of time we sit back and we listen with one ear. Anything will sound like, oh Lord, it don't, it depressed, it don't. But I hear optimism, and I realize that you both see the trajectory as still an upward one, and the light at the end of the tunnel, and that reggae music for us, not just reggae, because reggae is a broad term right about now. It can sell out the world, and we still hungry. But you guys see where reggae music itself can be prolific, and it can be commercially viable for us if we do it right. And that's something that I really, really appreciate. Gentlemen, we're out a whole lot of things. The main one is time, right?
Okay.
So, and it's a pleasure chopping it up with you guys. Again, we can't do this in a one-day thing. We'll probably come on every afternoon, but that's a different conversation. All right, my people will reach out to you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Well, I'm very fortunate. I must say I'm very fortunate because usually at this time I wouldn't be available.
Wow.
I would not be available. I would be somewhere, you know, working outside the music. I work for Sephora, which that distribution company teach me a lot of things. When I go there, I just say, why we can't have an industry like this?
Wow.
Pressing reggae music, distributing. Rihanna become billionaire now because of Sephora right now. Rihanna become billionaire because of Rihanna, because they are the exclusive distributor of Fenty brand.
Right.
So man say Rihanna become billionaire and I wonder, no, it's Sephora. The company that I work with. And I realize why. That is why I say we have no industry and we have no commerce.
Right. Well, I do hope the necessary people, the powers that be, the ears that need to hear, have been paying attention, listening. Even if they don't reach out to you guys individually for collaborations, they will definitely reach out and say, you know what, I heard something, I learned something, and I take something from there. Mr. Lloyd Stanberry, still loving that book, The Reggae Roadblock. I do think that we always talk about the book, This Business of Reggae Music. The business of music, which I have. I do think we should probably add your book into that because some people need to soak up some of that. So thank you so much for that piece of literature. Drop some information because I know you do a ton of things. There's Majestic Media, have a whole bunch of things. Think you have a spaceship at launch next week, but that's a different thing.
Mine, you know, crashing.
but I'm not in that league at all.
Drop some social media info for the masses to keep up with you, please, sir.
Well, I mean, social media wise, Lloyd Stanberry, you know, you put Lloyd Stanberry or Majesty Media, it's an easy way, you know, but the majestymedia.com, lloydstanberry.com, at Lloyd Stanberry, at Majesty Media Global, on any one of those platforms that we frequent, whether it be, you know, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's just Lloyd Stanberry or Majesty Media Global.
Right.
And that is how, you know, it will connect.
Gotcha.
And for me, that's Fitzroy Francis or Mindful 13 Records. Once you type Google that, it's right there.
I love it. Gentlemen, once more, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your patience, and more than anything else, thank you so much for sharing the knowledge. I need it. And I know the masses out there need it too. I mean,
yeah, and before you go, I want to say
Mm-hmm.
thanks, Jonah Marie.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Miss Jonah Marie. For reaching out. Yeah, and it's a pleasure being in this on this platform, especially with Sir Light Stanberry. As I told you, about Mr. Light Stanberry cassette, musical speaking, I listen to them every day in my home. So a lot of knowledge that I attain is from that man right there.
I love it. I love it. Or yourself, man. I have two kidnappers outside door. I have two of my kidnapper brethren them outside. So we soon throw him in the van and he'll be on here every day under duress, but you will not be able to tell. So gentlemen, once more, I appreciate y'all big time. Thank you so much. We shall do this again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Y'all be safe. Blessings. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a dope convo, and I appreciate my guests. I appreciate you all. It's a vibe. I'm a squeeze off that Chuck Turner tribulation. It bad. All right, let's get into it. Let's go.
Tribulation is going on God's land wide. Tribulation is going on God's land. Tribulation is going on God's land wide. Tribulation is going on God's land. Look around and tell me what you see. From my observation, this is how things be. A large respect for the giver of life. All they think about is war and the strife. I'm on the road, stop another week tonight. My little sister got my last night. Home prophet to teach you them right. Almighty Father is living at night. Tribulation is going on God's land wide. Tribulation is going on God's land. Tribulation is going on God's land wide. Tribulation is going on God's land. How many mothers see her cry? Senseless killing their children are dying. But little shall never see.
I want to take a minute to say thank you all. Every last one, I want to say thank you. All right, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. It's been a pleasure. Again, my guests, Mr. Lloyd Stanberry, Mr. Fitzroy Francis. And here's the deal. We're going to have these conversations a little bit more often, all right? It's the second time having Mr. Stanberry on, first time having Mr. Francis on, but we got to do this a little bit more frequently because there's a lot of information. Hey, for no other reason, I love getting the information. I love studying. I love soaking up at the information at the feet of those people who have the knowledge to share. Because guess what? People when they know nothing talk loud and talk enough. So I want to talk to the people who have the info to share. But again, I want to thank you all so much. Remember, if you haven't yet followed us on social media, it's at MyGCole, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I want to thank all the massive and crew over there at Jamaicans.com. Everybody listening in from near and far. All right, Royal Zion Hannes Radio, everybody. All right, big up, and thank you. Once more, when you get off of here, hop over to YouTube, put in Homegrown with G-Cole, subscribe to the YouTube channel, click on the notification bell. We'll let you know who's going to be in the building and when. Again, thank you so much to my guests. We have some very insightful conversations coming up right now. The series we're going on beyond the microphone. All right. So of course we talk to your favorite artists and producers and stuff like that, but we're getting behind because that's where we need to be, behind not the culture, but behind the scenes. All right. We're getting there and we're going to stay there for a minute. All right. So we have some interesting conversations coming up. Francine. All right, but I want to thank y'all so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Homegrown with G-Cole. I got to go.
Nakikinig sa música, Homegrown with G-Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G-Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G-Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G-Cole.
Tribulation is going on God's land. Fire.
Thank y'all so much for all the comments, man. I appreciate y'all, all right? Remember, when you get off, share the links so the Massive One crew that haven't heard it yet can. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the podcast. Homegrown with G-Cole is available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. We're there, all right?
Fire.